Welcome back to the baseline. And today we are doing our probably one of the best ones that we've done. Top 20 starting pitchers of all time. And of course, as always, join me, Craig and Al. Guys, you ready to talk starting pitching?
Can't wait, dude. I'm so excited. This is I started doing this on Monday, and I whittled and whittled and whittled, and finally settled on the top 20 Thursday, and I'm rolling with it. It could go a million different ways, and it's going to be fun to talk about. I can't wait to see how different our list is and who we all get to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And this it turned out to be, don't get me wrong, it was the hardest list as we knew it was going to be. But I think for me, it was like the most fun one to put together.
It was a blast.
Um, there is one thing off air. You mentioned somebody with a 116 war that you end up leaving off your list.
Yeah.
And don't know who that is.
Yes, see, and it doesn't surprise me
No, no,
actually.
no, no, no. The thing is,
Oh, okay.
I did all the wars, and I've got like 30 names here,
Well,
and none of them are a 116 war, which makes me think there's another war issue with what I
well,
was looking at.
and listen, and that's funny you brought that up because by the way, I'll throw that since you just brought that up, I'll throw this out there. If there's any listener or if you guys, I don't know anybody, but if you guys know anybody that considers himself any kind of expert on the calculation of war, I think it would be a really fun 20-minute podcast sometime. Because I
Yes.
know we can't be the only ones that are wondering what the hell that where these numbers come from. Because there are multiple different wars too. There are different factions of it sounds like we're talking about world domination here, but there literally are different factions of war that use different calculations, and depending on like I have multiple guys where I found different numbers, and I have a couple of them written down. Let me see if I
Well,
can find one quick. Yeah, I've one guy who had a war of 68.5 and was also listed on another site as 67.6.
well, here's the thing. How about on the same site? Go to Baseball Reference. I'm sure you guys are all getting ready to go to Baseball Reference anyway while we're doing this,
Sure. Yep.
and just look at Kurt Schilling.
Let's see here.
I'm not going to say if he's ranked or not, but just look at Kurt Schilling. Look at his WAR at the top of the page where it says it, and then look at his WAR and all his stats. It's different.
Wait, but this might be the Babe Ruth thing because they also factor in hitting to pitchers' wars. Now, if his bit, yep, there it makes sense because his batting war is -1.
Oh, geez, really?
Yep, that I finally figured that out about a week ago because whenever I texted you guys about that Babe Ruth thing, because remember we went off for a couple minutes about how Babe Ruth's war didn't add up, and it's
Yep.
because we missed about 25 points of his pitching war because he was a really good pitcher. Now, most pitchers only have like a good hitter might add 1 or 2 or 5 points to their WAR. A bad hitter like Schilling got 1 point subtracted. You know what I mean? So the calculations of this thing are weird. Also,
So
from
which
site
one
to
do we
site, it
do?
can be weird.
So which one do we do?
The one. It's the real WAR. Supposedly, is the one at the top of the page because that factors in everything about them as a baseball player.
All right, but okay, all right, yeah, okay. So
But again, there's debate about that too, Craig. So you know what I mean. So war is the like in a world where numbers rule. War is the most nebulous stat I've ever come across in my life, and it doesn't make sense. Um, there are okay. Well, you know what? Real quick, check this out. I made a note for a future pod because you want to hear the craziest thing I've ever come across on the nebulous nature of war. Check this out.
Mhm.
Um, okay, we're all on Baseball Reference. I want you to look up Juan Marichal and look at his 1970 and 1971 seasons. And listeners, I beseech you to do this too.
all right.
Now look at the wars. Just look at that first. Okay. 70 and 71. 70 was 2.8. 71 was 2.9. Now I want you to look at the rest of those numbers in those 2 years and tell me that 71 wasn't a dramatically better season in every possible way.
Why can't I find Marichal? Oh,
Juan, and then it's Mari. That
it's
should get you
that's
there.
it. The I, you got me. Okay.
You said
Nice.
71 and 70?
70 and 71, Jordan. So you see the wars are 2.8 and 2.9 and 70 and 71. Tell me when you're there.
Yes, I got it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, point one more war in 71 for Marichal. Now look at the years. His record is 12 and 10 to 18 and 11. Not even close. The ERA, 4.12 to 2.94. Not even close. The innings pitched, he pitched 35, seven more innings. His ERA was 3.73 to 3.2. His whip was 1.306 to 1.075. And his war was 2.8 to 2.9. That 1 year was way better. So explain that to me.
Yeah, you would think
Yeah.
that would be like a two two full points better.
I can't see any way math got to that conclusion. So I would love. So this is a private, fun little tangent of mine. I wasn't expecting to go off on this little tangent, but you led me there, and I had to jump. But anybody out there that's listening that can considers themselves an expert on whip, I'd love to have a conversation with you so I can understand these vagaries.
Weird. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we'll confirm. We'll try to get Brian Kenny on in the next podcast.
That's awesome, Jordan. We'll put it through the what do they call it? The cruncher or whatever,
The shredder, whatever the
the
hell it's
shredder.
called.
Yes, the shredder. That's right. Oh, that's awesome.
That was a
Good.
fun. That was a fun couple minutes. I
I
like it.
love it. Okay, good. I was hoping I wasn't just annoying because
No, that was fun. I like that.
it's a worm. It's been a worm in my brain for years. So thank you for indulging me.
And I still don't get it. And yeah,
Yes, it's a marker. It's an interesting guidepost. I still am not exactly sure what it means.
yeah, yeah.
All right, enough about that. Jordan, take us where you want to go now.
All right. Well, let's get started. How's that?
Love it.
We'll do our again two-parter. So right now we're doing 20 through 11 on this pod. And my number 20, guys, is once again a name I was familiar with. Just didn't know how good he was. I'm going with Satchel Paige as my number 20.
Oh, I love it. I love it. He is my first alternate. I wanted him on here so bad, but I didn't. I didn't
Satchel
do it.
Paige is number 20. And an alternate, he's my number 9.
Love it. Love it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and
I
that's and
saw a list for
anywhere you
Satchel
put him
Paige.
is good. You can make him number one, honestly, and I wouldn't have
Yeah,
argued.
I saw a list for Satchel Paige was number 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that.
Yeah. Because it's like I said, I knew the name. I just didn't know how good he was. I didn't realize this. He made his MLB debut at the age of 41.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's why he only has 1,700 innings pitched.
right. Um, in 1965, if you guys on baseball reference, at the age of 58 years old, pitched 3 shutout innings.
Yeah, I know that's
At
nuts, right?
58, um, he had a 21 game winning streak, a 62 scoreless streak, and here's actually an interesting fact about Page. Well, it's not about him, but I wanted to share this. But in 1966, Ted Williams was being in the Hall of Fame, and he said, "I hope players like Page um, end up getting into the Hall of Fame." And 5 years later, his dream came true, and Satchel Paige actually got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I love that. Absolutely love
What
that.
year did he get into the majors?
At
Was it 40?
19, 1948, he played for Cleveland. He was 41 years old.
Then he went
Weren't it
6-1.
really? I guess Kansas City wasn't part of the Kansas
That's
City
the
Monarchs.
Kansas City Monarchs. They're like the most legendary Negro League team of all time.
Okay, because yeah, his Negro League career is ridiculous.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's insane.
That's
It's
why
insane.
that's why I have him up there is because his numbers in the Negro Leaguers are just unbelievable.
It's insane, and it's a shame they don't have a better accounting of the Negro League stats because by Satchel Paige's own account, and he's known to be a little bit of a of an exaggerator in a fun way, but by his own account, he pitched 2,500 games and won 2,000 of them.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, so his WAR is really low. That's why I didn't put him any higher. But just on numbers, when you take into account the Negro Leagues as well, he's easy top 10 for me. But and even higher. But I have him at 9, and it's just because of the WAR. Otherwise, he would have been even higher. The WAR's only 46.9.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a tough guy to rate because he's the only guy on this list for any of us that's going to have 124 wins on the record. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and but by his account, that's roughly 1,000. Oh, son of a gun! I'm so sorry. My phone fell. Sorry. The
you're
one
good.
spot it seems to work most consistently is balanced precariously on my armchair's arm rest. So, but yeah, it's just a shame that the stats aren't all there because it would be so nice to know what the
Look
actual stats were.
look
You
at
know.
his age 27 season 1934. He went 13-3 with a 1.54 ERA and a 0.87 whip.
Yeah, right, right. I know that's crazy, man. And by the way, you'll notice several seasons in the on the far right where he averages more than a strikeout per inning, more than 9 per 9. And there's almost nobody in the history of the game in that era. I don't think. I mean, that's got to be light years ahead of most people. You know.
Yep. His whole page is just full of black highlights, the dark highlights, the bold, sorry, bold.
Yes, and a
Right.
lot of the new numbers that we don't understand too, which is the a lot of the stat darling numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which would
yeah.
tell you he'd be great in the modern era, of course.
His
You know.
whip, his whip was crazy. He led the league in whip one, two, three, four, five, 6 times. And all 6 of those times, it was under one. And he had other years where it was under one as well.
Yeah, man, he was a beast. He was a beast. He was. If it was more easy to quantify him, he would probably be somewhere between 4 and 1.
Yeah. Yep.
And I
He's
just didn't know what to do with him. I really, there's a couple
yeah,
guys that are so hard to figure out what to do. And I'm glad both of you guys had him on the list, and I'm glad we got to talk about
but
him because he
yeah.
is one of the most special people in the history of the game. And here's a cool. Let me find there's a really cool quote about Satchel Paige that I found. Oh, actually, filibuster for me for a minute because I have to pull up his Saber page that talked about his
Um,
impact in baseball.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, I actually looked at the his first 12 years of his career. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, first 12 years of his career, he had he hasn't had a winning percentage under 4.
Wow.
Like it's insane. And then
Wow.
for what 1, 2, 3, 4 straight years, he never he didn't get a loss. Like yes,
Yep.
like the records are 1-0, 8-0, like they're very small, but he hasn't. Like I mean, come on, like what can you not say about uh Satchel Paige?
Yeah, man, 100%. And then in the off season, and this is going to lead to the thing I wanted to read. This is from Saber. Um, he would barnstorm in the U.S. and the Caribbean with guys like Dizzy Dean and Bob Feller, and would regularly duel them. Imagine being able to go see that. I mean, in your local some local farm. You know what I mean? Like, there. Oh my God, Bob Feller's going against Satchel Paige today down at the Haas's place. I mean, what the heck? It's crazy. So, so check this out. This is so cool to me because we know about the impact of Jackie Robinson. It's glorious. It's talked about. There's been movies made. All of it justifiably so, and you can talk about it every day for hours, and it's not enough as far as I'm concerned. So I love that Jackie gets his due. Satchel sometimes doesn't, and this is something that talks about that. Um, Talks about how he drew the spotlight first to himself playing for the Kansas City Monarchs and then to the Monarchs rookie second baseman Jackie Robinson. And the last paragraph of his page on Saber says, "The truth is that Satchel Paige had been hacking away at baseball's color bar decades before the world got to know Jackie Robinson. Satchel laid the groundwork for Jackie the way A. Philip Randolph, W.E.B. Du Bois, and other early civil rights leaders did for Martin Luther King. Page was as much a poster boy for black baseball as Louis Satchmo Armstrong was for black music and Paul Robeson was for the black stage. As much as those two became symbols of their art in addition to their race, so Satchel was not known as a great black pitcher, but a great pitcher. In the process, Satchel Paige, more than anyone, opened to blacks the national pastime and forever changed his sport and this nation." I don't
Wow.
know what else you need to say about Satchel Paige. I mean, come on, that's incredible.
Amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is a that is a great pick, Jordan. I'm glad I have him on the list as well. Awesome.
All right. Craig, you want to do your number 20?
Okay. My number 20 is one that I did not think would make this list. And he was the hardest one. Number 20, 19, and 18 were the hardest ones to decide who was going to not make the list, who was going to make it. But I ended up landing on a guy who I'm quite sure cheated quite often at a different time, but it's Phil Necro, the
Okay,
knuckleballer.
okay.
Okay.
Another of my first alternates, and I love Phil Negro. And never caught cheating, so I did not keep him off the list because of cheating.
Right, right, right. I think
Although
he
I
did,
think you're probably right.
but the knuckleballer, I remember him. I it's kind of he's from way back, but I still actually remember him playing. He
Me too.
played uh, very late, into the '80s, well into the '80s. But he had 318 wins.
Yeah. No, he was a no joke, man. And he routinely pops up in the top 20 of a lot of the lists I looked at.
Yeah, over 3,000 strikeouts. So I put him on there. His ERA 335 is a little high. His WHIP 127 is very high for this list. That's why I was thinking maybe I wouldn't put him on there. But the 318, and then he had a 95.9 WAR, which is pretty high. So he just barely snuck in as my number 20.
And I will say this, Craig, he is for his whip is not sparkling, but for a knuckleballer, it's second all time.
Yep, yep. Knuckleballer's the only pitch that even the pitcher has no idea where it's going.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it. And let me tell you how devastated I was after trying to wing a knuckleball around my backyard for a couple years to see the video Phil Necro did in the 80s about the knuckleball and find out he wasn't pressing his knuckles against the ball. He was holding his fingertips against it. I was like, I've been doing it wrong the whole time.
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, I love Phil. He was right there with Satchel for people I left off. There's a couple other. I made a list of my toughest cuts, and there were like six of them, and he was one of the six.
Yep, he played until he was, if my baseball reference page will
Oh, he was
load.
old. Yeah, what was it?
48.
Yeah,
It's the beauty of the knuckleball, huh?
That's Jamie Moore territory.
Yeah,
yeah.
right, right.
He retired
Yes.
in 1987 at 48 years old. Jeez.
That's awesome. By the way, I think Phil Necro's knuckleball was faster than Jamie Moyer's fastball by the time he retired.
Probably.
There was years he started over 40 games.
That's incredible. In that
Yeah.
He's
era,
he's in 1977 through 1980, he started 43, 42, 44, and 38 games
that's amazing.
with 330, 334, and 342 innings.
That's the
We're
nuts.
never going to even
No.
sniff that again.
No,
No,
no, no,
you'll never get that ever again.
no. Yeah, it would have.
Even
Yeah,
his complete games are insane for those years you did too. Right? Is his
Yeah. Oh,
complete
yeah.
game? Yeah,
20,
20,
22.
22, and 23.
Yeah.
bonkers.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's funny, Craig, because we both caught like I think probably mostly his 40s. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. All his 40. Yeah. I don't remember him in the 30s, in his 30s at all. Because he
And
was
he
40
looked
years old and I was five.
he was like an old man, you know what I mean? And he
Yeah.
pitched for another like 8 years from the time I was
Yeah.
aware of
Yeah.
him as an old man.
Yeah. I was aware of him. And by that time, he was in there for like another 4 or 5 years. But yeah, he was well into his 40s.
Yeah, and we missed his prime, and he was still good, but we missed his prime, and I I never got the sense of how great he was when in the chunk I saw as a kid because I guess just because we missed the prime, I guess, you know. And then
Well,
looking at the numbers, it's like holy crap.
yeah, I got him because he was on the Yankees
Hmm.
for 2 years, and
Right
one
on.
year was
Okay.
really good. 1984, he had a 3.09 ERA.
Wow.
And he was 16-8.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool,
at
That's
45
awesome.
years old, he was 16-8
man.
with a 3.09 ERA.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
you don't get that a lot.
No,
No, that's
definitely
for
not.
sure.
Like, no offense, look at Verlander and Scherzer. They're in their 40s and they're not that good.
Yeah, well, and they're flamethrowers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's very few unless
Oh,
PEDs are involved, like some people that flamethrowers are. It's tough for them to be. You know, I can't think of a flamethrower that lasted into their late 40s, other than like Satchel Paige or you know what I mean. Some of
yeah.
these old school guys. You know.
Oh, here's something interesting. He actually learned the knuckleball by his father, because his father told him, if you throw this, you'll be one of the pitchers that were unpredictable to batters,
Yep.
I love it.
and he was.
I love it. Great call. That's like to me, teaching a kid a knuckleball is as smart as teaching a kid to punt.
Yep.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Because to me, a punter is the easiest gig in professional sports. And if you actually are birthed with a leg that can kick it far enough, why not go punt for 20 years? You know what I mean? Do whatever the heck you want with the rest of your life. And why not throw a knuckleball if you can?
yeah. He's ranked fifth all time in complete in game start.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just read that. But
716 starts.
yeah, that's insane.
Man, that's
Uh
amazing.
that's an awesome call. I like that.
Good one. Yep, good one. Jordan, did you say I don't think he's on your list, I'm guessing. Was he anywhere on
No,
your radar?
he was on my honorable mentions.
Right on, cool. Same. Okay. All right. My number 20 then?
Yep.
All right. Well, this guy was going on the list. Now, luckily, it made sense, but I did have to leave off some people that a couple, you know, a person that I should have probably been on my list, like Satchel Paige, to put on this guy. But I had a childhood love and a obsession with this guy, and when I tell you he is third all time in ERA and eighth all time in WHIP, but I would be willing to bet he didn't make either of your guys' lists, and I would. It's understandable entirely, and that is one of the greatest nicknames in baseball history. His full name is Mordecai. He was born in the year 1900. Mordecai Peter Centennial Three Finger Brown.
Oh, okay.
Now, did he come across either of you guys' radar in any way?
No,
Not at
not.
all. Nope.
But
Okay,
I know of him. Yes.
you've heard the name Three Finger, right?
Yeah, I
Oh
have
yeah.
too.
Right on. Well, let me start with the story about Three Finger from Saber because it's a good one. First of all, he wasn't three fingers. He had four and a half. All right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But here's the real story, and I just lost it. Dang it, where'd it go? Of Three Finger Brown. Okay, here it is. Mordecai's most familiar nickname was Three Finger, although he actually had four and a half fingers on his pitching half. Because of childhood curiosity, Mordecai lost most of his right index finger in a piece of farming equipment. Not long after, he fell while chasing a rabbit and broke his other fingers. The result was a bent middle finger, a paralyzed little finger, and a stump where the index finger used to be.
Jeez.
Hence, Three Finger Brown. And he was an infielder to start his when he was a teenager. And when he played shortstop, he would throw these wild ass curveballs to the first baseman because of his fingers. And one of his coaches said, "Hey man, we might want to try you on the mound." And he became one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Now, other than the nickname that started the obsession, here's why he made my list. All right. One, and I'm going to repeat that again because it's worth repeating. He had a 2.06 career ERA, third all time, a 1.066 whip, eighth all time, a record of 239 and 130. He doesn't make the list a lot. He doesn't get in people's radar a lot because he didn't get the 300 wins or whatever. You know what I mean? But he also didn't start playing until I believe he was 26 years old.
Yep,
Um,
26.
26, right? Okay, cool. So here's some really cool stuff about old Three Finger. He won an ERA title in '06. That ERA was 1.04. He led the league in WHIP 3 times. He led the league in complete games 2 times. In '09 with 32 complete games and 10 with 27 complete games. He won the World Series twice as a Cub, by the way, '07 and '08. He had a legend. He was a legendary rival of Christy Mathewson, another guy who's going to be considered for our lists here, I'm sure. And in 25 career matchups versus Christy Mathewson, he was 13 and 11 with one no decision.
Wow.
Yeah. Now he still holds Cubs. Now, I'm not looking at my baseball reference. Is anybody looking at it? Can you tell me
Yep,
what year Mordecai retired?
1916.
Okay, so he retired in
Well,
1916,
well,
and
that was his
still
last year, so 1917.
yeah, sorry. So 1917, and he still holds the Cubs franchise records for the following statistics: most shutouts, lowest ERA with the Cubs, most wins, uh,
Wow.
most wins in a season, and lowest ERA in a season. And that's over a century since he retired. He still owns those franchise records. And the
And one
last thing
year he
I'll
won 29 games.
yes, his stats are insane, dude. If you're looking, I mean, I know you're looking at it now. I mean, there was look at his ERAs from '04 to '09.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Even
He had 1 year
2010.
of an ERA over 2, and it was 2.17.
Yeah, we even go further than that from what, like 03 to 14. His ERA didn't even touch 4 until his and until around that time until he got
Yeah, he
traded.
only had an ERA over 3 in 3 seasons of his entire career.
Yeah, that's insane.
4. I'm sorry, 4 seasons. The last one, if you count the last one where he pitched 2 innings or 5 games, I mean, sorry. But anyway, Mordecai. Now I have 2 other things I want to read, and then anything you guys want to add. 2 quotes from 2 of the greatest players of all time. One is from Christy Mathewson and their rivalry. Brown is my idea of an almost perfect pitcher. It will usually be found at the end of a season that he had taken part in more key games than any other pitcher in baseball. And then my favorite quote that I found from Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb described his curve as the most devastating he'd ever tried to hit. And check this out. Ty Cobb, who had a career batting average versus Walter Johnson of 366 and versus Cy Young of 350, had a career batting average versus Mordecai Brown of 273.
Wow.
Three Finger Brown. He was going on my list from the time you mentioned doing this, and I was glad to see the stats backed it up. His WAR's low at 58, but a lot of times those old school WARs get a little funky. The pre 1900 ones are crazy high, and the 1900 to 1925 or so are seem crazy low to me. But either way, I think he's justified to be on here.
I mean, 27 and 9, 27 and 9, 29 and 9,
Yeah,
25 and 14, pitching 342 innings one
yeah,
year.
right, right.
He also had 13 saves in a year.
Yeah, he led the league in saves
Yeah,
4 times.
It was also starting 27 games.
Yeah, he pitched in 1909. He started 34 games, pitched 50, and led the league in saves with 7,
My
and,
God.
and through 32 complete games.
that's insane.
Yeah, and had an ERA of 1.31, by the way. And by the way, we like to talk about postseason prowess too. He was pretty close to the same guy in the postseason. In 57.2 innings in the postseason, he had a 2.97 ERA and a 1.092 WHIP.
Yep.
Oh, that's
So there,
awesome. I like that.
there's Three Finger Brown, and he didn't. I assume he wasn't on either of you guys' honorable mentions or anything.
No, because I never
No.
came across him. Nobody mentioned him on any of the lists I was looking at.
Yeah, and I found him in the top 20 in one list, and I found him usually if I found him, it was somewhere in the 30 to 50 range. If he was going to be on it, he was not on several lists. He was only top 20 in one list I found.
That's a great name, though.
Yeah, I love it.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad he made your list.
Right on, right on.
Gotta show some love for him.
Love it. Awesome. All right.
All right, so my 19.
Yes, sir.
All right, so my 19, Al, is actually a guy you brought up earlier before we did the list.
Oh.
So that's gonna be Juan Marichal.
Oh, great. He is my frantically turning pages. He is my number 17.
Oh, okay, nice.
And he is my one of my first honorable mentions.
Right on. Right
All
on.
right. Um, yeah, I know his like numbers are here and there, but just wait until you like these stories that I tell you. Again, I think this is why I made him put him on my list. Um, so he went one. He went 5 straight games without a loss, and in those 5 games, he threw a shutout and a no hitter. 9 times his ERA was under 3. 6 times he struck out more than 200 batters, and also he has 52 career shutouts.
That's a great. That's a big number.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Yeah, his career, like his win loss is what 243 to 142 losses. Um, the over 2,000 strikeouts, 10-time All Star. Um, but yeah, once I heard those stats, I'm like, no, he's got to make my list because that's just 52 shutouts.
That's bonkers. I mean, talk about numbers that'll never be hit again. And that's not even probably even close to a record given the early days of baseball. But for his era, he was one of the best. He was in the pitchers era, one of the several pitchers eras of baseball, and he was one of the best in that era. Yeah, I love this guy. I'm glad you brought him up, and I had him a tick higher, but anywhere on here and where Craig had him as a high honorable mention, all makes sense to me.
Yeah, a lot of bold in all his stats as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
look at
a
that. Look at that 65 season.
22-13, a 2.13 ERA,
10 shutouts.
10 shutouts, 295 innings,
I mean, that's crazy. The
and a
war,
and a
of
whip under one.
yes. Good call. Yes. He was a big whip guy. He had a couple seasons where he was just like I don't know what happened in 1970 where all of a sudden his whip was 1.3, but he had come off a run of 5 years in a row where his highest whip was 1.17 and most of them were way lower. So yeah, he was a beast, man, and
Yeah, you can
cool.
go 7, you can go 8, 9, you go 9 years where his ERA, his high for 9 years in a row was the highest one was 1.17.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was a
0.9,
monster.
1.0, 0.9, 0.8, 1.1, 1.0, 0.9.
Yeah,
All in a
absolute.
row.
This guy's one of my favorite ever. This is
He
another
got a
guy that was gonna
bunch of
be on my
MVP.
list.
He got a bunch of MVP votes as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I noticed that too, man. Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, but like you said, it's again, as one of those guys knew the name, just didn't know how good he was until I looked at the numbers. Like you said, like the 68 season, it's insane. That 26-9.
Yeah. He has several seasons that you're just like, what the heck?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and he didn't get a lot of chances in the postseason playing for bad San Francisco teams. But when he did, he was in the postseason twice. He pitched 12 innings, had an ERA of 1.5, a WHIP of 0.667.
Yeah.
So he was ready. He was ready to rumble.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, and I have a couple cool things about him. His trademark high leg kick is one of the coolest pitching motions in the history of baseball. And the quote, I didn't write the source. I mean, it was either, knowing me, it was either Saber or the Baseball Hall of Fame. It was one of the two. The quote came is, if you placed all the pitchers in the history of the game behind a transparent curtain where only a silhouette was visible, Juan's motion would be the easiest to identify.
Oh yeah, that leg kick was ridiculous.
Insane. I mean,
Yeah.
it was so cool. You thought he was going to tip over backwards, and then he would just boom right past your face.
It
Love it.
was all about that rotation off of going back so far.
Yes, it was fascinating. It's fascinating to me when guys are really successful with something like that, and then nobody ever mimics it.
Yeah, yeah. Why aren't people still doing that?
Right, right. I mean, geez, this guy, and he was, he wasn't the size of some of the guys that are considered flamethrowers. You know what I mean? But he was bringing the heat.
Yeah,
Couple other neat things about Juan, by the way. The first Dominican Republic native in the Hall of Fame when he went in 1983. So he's a
nice.
trailblazer in his own right. Um,
I like that.
Arguably the greatest pitcher in the history of the All Star game. Um, he was 2-0 in 8 games pitched, 18 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 walks, and 1 earned run.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he liked playing against good players.
Well, yeah. Not only that, but that's back when the All Star game meant something.
Exactly. That's a
Where
great
like
point.
those guys wanted to win that game.
That is a great point. It was the best of the best, and they gave a crap. You're right. You're right. That makes it even better. That's so awesome. And then we would be remiss to bring up two things real quick. One thing very quick. Pete Rose said he's the best pitcher he ever faced. That means something to me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's nice.
And then the last thing ever, or the last thing for me, is he pitched in arguably the greatest pitching duel in the history of baseball. And that was on July 2nd, 1963, in a complete game, 16 inning, one nothing win over Warren Spahn. They both pitched complete games, and Marichal got the win in the 16th inning.
That's
That's
ridiculous.
awesome.
Can you imagine somebody going 16 innings today? That take them 4 games.
Yeah, right, exactly. Totally, man. There are starting pitchers that don't go 16 innings in April
Yeah,
anymore.
Yeah,
yeah.
that tells you a lot about how the game changed.
Fascinating, isn't it? Oh, I love it. I love it. Awesome that he was on your list. And yeah, he was my number 17.
Awesome, cool.
All
All
right.
right.
All right, Craig, you're number 19.
Number 19, which was a tough one again because I could have swapped him out for a bunch of people. I gave it to him because of his WAR being 84.1, which was a lot higher than some of the others. And I'm going with Fergie Jenkins.
Oh, good one. Another one on that. He was one of my 6 on my when I had my 31 alternates that I mentioned that we're not going to go through all of them, but then I whittled that down to the 6 toughest, and he was on that.
Nice, nice,
All right,
nice.
all right.
284 wins. Um, a 334 ERA, which is pretty high. Probably might be the highest on my list, to be honest. But Whip was right there. He had over 3,000 strikeouts. He got a Cy Young, and again, that WAR was 84.1, a lot
It's
higher than some of the guys I was considering around him. So that's why I went with him. And it's no problem going with him because I mean, you go to his baseball reference page, it's littered with bold numbers. So he's right there with anybody you want to mention. He came in second for the Cy Young, third for the Cy Young, twice. Oh, wait, second twice, third twice, and won it once.
yeah, he's no joke, man. He was
Yeah,
awesome. Another one of those guys, Craig, that we just caught the tail end of, right?
Very tail end. To be honest, I vaguely remember him. He retired in '83.
Yeah, he wasn't he
I was like
pitching
8 years.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Wasn't he? Did he end his career in Anaheim?
No, the Cubs.
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
Yeah. So yeah, '83. I was like 8 years old. So I mean, again, vaguely remember, but not really. I remember more of his baseball card because I had just starting to collect cards then, and 84, 83 was like the years that I started, and his 83 card was in there.
That's awesome. That's
That's
why.
awesome.
That's why I know him too. That's why I know him too. Is baseball cards for sure. Yeah,
Um,
because I
actually,
don't remember him as a player very much at all.
Yeah,
But
over
100%
300
worthy of
innings,
this list.
over 300 innings, 4 years in a row. Then 1 year of 289, and then back over 300 again. No, 289, 271, then back over 300. But yeah, so 5 years of over 300 innings. That year he went 24-13 with a 2.7 ERA, 30 complete games, and 49 shutouts. Not as many as
yeah,
52 as Jordan's number there, but 49 still pretty damn good.
That's a
yeah.
big number.
Yep, and that same year he also had a 1.03 ERA WHIP.
Yeah, he
Lot
was
of low,
his whip is really good. Like
yeah. There's a lot of low whips in there. Nothing under one, but not a lot of 1.0 something. Not
yes,
1.09, 08, 03, 03, 04s. So yeah. So that's my guy,
that's an
Ferguson
awesome one. I'm
Benjamin.
glad you brought him up, Craig. He was a guy that I couldn't find a way on my list, but is certainly worthy. And I was trying to figure it out.
Do you make yours, Jordan?
Yeah, he was actually my number 16.
Oh, I
Oh,
love it. Nice.
perfect.
Yeah. Actually, here's a stat that I didn't know. I had to write it down. Um, he was the first pitcher to end his career with at least um 3,000 strikeouts and fewer than 1,000 walks.
Oh, that's a great stat. I didn't catch
That's
that.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and then that those 30 shutouts you were seeing, Craig, in his Cy Young year. Yeah, he
30
pitched.
complete games, yeah.
Yeah, that was out of 39 starts.
Yeah, 39 starts, 30 complete games.
Yeah, like that's yeah, like 9 of them. You just
Yep.
he felt like I don't think he felt like doing it.
Yeah, right. It's like he probably only went 8 and a third.
Probably.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great, man. I love it. That's awesome. He made both your lists, and he was in my that final six that I couldn't figure out how to get on. I love it.
Awesome. So who is
Uh,
your number 19?
Okay. Well, here's a guy, and I do remember this guy because you couldn't avoid him living where I live. And he did not play for my team, but he played in my area. And I'll start by saying this. He's the only underwear model that is going to make my top 20.
what?
That is Jim Cakes Palmer. And did you know he had the nickname Cakes?
No.
Sounds familiar.
He has the nickname Cakes because he realized during the 1966 World Series, when he was 19 years old, by the way, that the Orioles won whenever he ate pancakes. So for the rest of his career, he ate pancakes every time he started. And did Craig? Do you remember him being an underwear model?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Did you know that interesting fact, Jordan?
I don't think I did. I don't think I do. That's interesting.
Oh man! Now, did he make either of your lists or honorable mentions or
He
anything?
was my honorable mention. He was one of the ones that I was debating at number 20.
Right on, right on. Okay, and he was on the cusp. His WAR is 68.5, so he's on the cusp there. Um, but I just remember this guy, reading about him, hearing about him, being in the Philly Baltimore area. That's the two teams I heard the most about. And I personally I give him a little bonus points for playing in what is arguably the toughest division in the history of professional sports. Um, and he played. Here's some numbers. Let me just get to the numbers because he had a career record of 268 and 152, career ERA of 2.86, WHIP of 1.18. Oh, and another stat that I wanted to start this from the get go, and I forgot, but we'll start it now. Is I want to bring up Ks per nine as we're going through this exercise some because, for instance, Three Finger Brown. If I get back here desperately quick. Three Finger Brown is somewhere around four strikeouts per nine. In that era, that was fairly common. That might even be fairly high for that era. Jim Palmer, five strikeouts per nine. That's not terribly unusual. Do I still have Fergie Jenkins up? Yeah. So Fergie Jenkins was 6.4 per nine. There's not. It's going to be a while till we talk about anybody that has more than nine per nine.
Oh
And if I
yeah.
found that very interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Oh yeah. We could start mentioning that on a regular basis on here.
yeah, it's kind
Um,
of interesting to track, I think, Craig, and it's fascinating to see how the rise of the strikeout coincides with the decline of the complete game.
yes. I keep going back to shutouts as well because when Jordan mentioned the 52 for who was it had 52?
Uh, Marischal.
Yes,
Jim Palmer had 53.
there you go. There you go. Good call.
That's
Good call.
insane.
Yeah, he had 53 shutouts and
Yeah, man.
somehow
He
four saves.
did you know he won the Cy Young three times? By the way.
Yeah, three Cy Youngs. That's
Yeah.
another reason why I really wanted to put him on the list. Three Cy Youngs. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's only
It's
one, two.
crazy to me that I didn't put him on the list. To be honest, the more I think about it, three Cy Youngs. That right off the bat, that should put you on.
There's only four pitchers in the history of baseball who have won more Cy Youngs than Jim Palmer, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
That's insane.
Um, and by the way, so he won it three times. He was top five in the voting five other times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he finished top five in the Cy Young voting, including winning it three times, eight times. That's bonkers. Um,
He had a
three,
year when he started 40 games.
yes, yes, yes. And then the next year he started 39.
Yeah, and over 300 innings both times.
Yes. Oh, check out this cool stat. He's a three-time World Series champ. And check out the years on this, which is a record 66, 70, 83. That's two records. One, it's the longest time between World Series by a pitcher ever, and maybe by a player. I couldn't find it. And he's the only pitcher, but maybe player, because again, I couldn't confirm that, in the history of baseball to win World Series in three different decades.
Yes, that's awesome.
Wow.
He was also one of the best fielders of his era. Won four Gold Gloves, and it was not a reputation thing or anything. It wasn't a gift for being a good pitcher. Supposedly, he was an excellent fielder from everything I read.
Yep, I remember when he tried to make a comeback. It didn't go well, but I remember in '85, I think.
It was long. It was way longer than that, believe it or not. Because I
Yeah,
was thinking the same thing. It was years after he retired, and he pulled his hammy in spring training and called it.
yeah, it was like '89.
Yeah, you're right. It was that sounds about right because he was like late 40s when it happened, and he was early 40s when he retired. So that makes sense. And by the way, another thing we all like to talk about, and is great to talk about in Palmer's case, postseason prowess. Um, in his case, every important number except the WHIP, which rose just slightly, is better. His ERA is 2.61. The WHIP, which rose slightly, is still great at 1.21. He pitched 124 innings in the postseason, so this is not just little sniff of stats here. And his Ks per nine, which were five for his career, were 6.5 in the postseason.
Wow,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, and in 15 games started, he was 8-3.
He also had six complete games in the playoffs.
Yeah, isn't that something? Isn't that something? Yeah, and then the only other little nugget I have about Jim, which I thought was interesting, is he was offered a basketball scholarship by UCLA, which I never would have guessed that.
Oh, me neither.
Really?
Yep, because he was like a 6 foot tall, pitcher.
He's 6'3",
Is
according
that how tall he is?
to Baseball
Wow.
Reference.
Well, okay, so that makes a little more sense for the basketball thing. So yeah, Jim Palmer, man,
Good call.
right on.
That
Thank you.
that is a good call.
All right, so does that where does that take us, Jordan? To your
That-
18, I believe, maybe.
yes. So actually, I'm trying to hold on. Let me see. Oh, okay. So they only do. All right. So you look up this guy on Baseball Reference, right? And you're gonna get a a different person than what the one I'm talking about. I tried my best, but I couldn't really find him on Baseball Reference. So sorry. Um, but the numbers and everything I've read about this guy is remarkable, and I had to give him love. And I'm going with a pitcher named John Donaldson.
Okay, okay.
So
I'm intrigued because I don't know this name off the top of my head. Keep going.
listen to this guy. Um, Played in the Negro Leagues for 33 years.
Wow.
So he's pitched over 33 years. He has 413 career wins,
Whew. What?
5,081 strikeouts,
Wow.
14 no hitters, two
Good Lord.
perfect games, and in August of 1914 had a 22 strikeout game.
Wow. Wow.
And
I
another guy that we mentioned, I think it was Buck O'Neill, the catcher,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Mhm.
uh, said, and I looked this up. I think it was on MLB. I looked at this thing. He said John Donaldson threw a slider 20 years before anyone else did.
Wow. That's
what
super
the hell?
cool.
Yeah, you're right. I can't find him on
Yes,
baseball.
because yeah, so for whatever reason they always bring up the second baseman um on Baseball Reference. I don't know why.
I
To this
found him.
day,
I found him.
did you
But
find?
he has so little stats, it's barely worth looking at him on Pro Baseball Reference. Because I assume this is the John Donaldson that played for the Kansas City Monarchs, the Negro League.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had to look on.
I found that guy too, but I don't think that's him because his pitching isn't listed.
It's keep going down.
No, but it's only 2 years.
Yeah, but that's Negro Leagues, man. I'm pretty sure that's good. That's the guy. It fits the time frame. But it's just stats in the Negro Leagues stink. It's just this is the shame of it. Like literally, there are
Yeah, but
thousands
this
of
guy also
innings.
was more of a hitter. A lot of hitting stats.
Well, a lot of guys in the Negro Leagues did both. There's a guy that I'll be talking about in honorable mentions eventually that was the kind of the Babe Ruth in that regard. But yeah, the accounting of stats in the Negro Leagues is awful. And then there are
Yeah.
some.
Right.
It's just it's incredibly frustrating. And I
Oh,
guarantee you that's the right guy, but they just
so
don't have good
so because
stats.
I'm on MLB. There's a whole article about him.
Hmm.
Yes, that is the guy, but they're only doing his hitting stats.
Yeah, it's really it's
What
unfortunate that you can't track this stuff, you know.
yeah, which is
It
a
doesn't say
shame.
that he played that long either.
But again, that's not correct, Craig. You can't go by that. You just have to accept that those are wrong. They're just straight up wrong, and it's frustrating as hell.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I heard about this guy. I had to show him some love. Again, I know we can't talk a lot about him, but I wanted to get him in there because that's it's insane of how long and what cool things this guy has done.
What? Where did you find that in the Baseball Hall of Fame article? The numbers they're
No,
referencing,
so
or
if
where?
you look up on if you go on the computer, just hit
Yeah.
up John Donaldson pitcher. It says MOB, and it will show you an article about him, and they're just bits and pieces they'll throw out there.
That's awesome. I'm
Again,
gonna read up on this guy. That's awesome.
again, they don't show his um like all his wins. Again, it's just what you're seeing out. They didn't do that. Um, but yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff on this dude with that's just amazing.
I just found his Saber page. So that but it kept giving me that white second baseman you were talking about, Craig. So I had to keep going down and down and down, and eventually I found it. But
He
yeah, there's
says
a
he
lot.
only played for the Kansas City Monarchs for 6 years.
Where? What says that?
I found him on with Jordan was talking about when you click on when you do the search form and put John Donaldson pitcher. There's an MLB.com article, and it says that he pitched for 33 years. But then when you look at the years that they've got listed, it's
Oh,
only
okay,
like 10.
okay. I found that they're also including semi-pro. I don't know why they're counting that. I don't know what's up
They
with that.
shouldn't count that. If it's semi-pro, it shouldn't count.
Or are they? I don't know yet. I don't know. I gotta read up on
Yeah,
this
I'm just
more.
This
saying.
issue, by
It
the way,
says,
is we can talk about as much as you want, but this is a whole another podcast, like the whip thing,
yeah,
because
Yeah,
what you're when you look up a Negro League player, you have to assume going in that you're not going to see 1/10 of what they actually accomplish. And
yep,
like when Satchel Paige, you see his numbers with the Kansas City Monarchs, that was like a 40 game season that was going to be about a third to a fifth of what games Satchel Paige was going to play that year.
right.
And they would
Yeah,
barnstorm. And listen, if you want to say semi-pro games don't count, I get that. But think about this: some of those semi-pro games he was playing were in the Dominican, and he was pitching against Bob Feller.
right.
So to me, that's more pro than MLB was at the time. So it's impossible to account these guys exactly, and it's frustrating and annoying. But just keep in mind, anybody listening, the numbers that you see when you look up John Donaldson are not even close to what the numbers really are. And same thing with Satchel Paige, same thing with Cool Papa Bell, same thing with any of them. You know, it's just a shame.
Yeah, it stinks.
yeah.
It
And,
does. It
but
really does. And there's no footage to go back and just add up the numbers. You know what I mean? Like it's a bummer. But I love that you brought this guy up, man. And his Saber page is like, a mile long. So I can't wait to read it later and learn about this guy, because this is I thought I was familiar with everybody we were going to be talking about today, and you busted out somebody I wasn't, and I love it.
yeah, just because it's like what you said, Al. It's like the the, the Negro leagues don't give as much love as they should, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to been like, you know what, we gotta get this guy, and regardless of what you read and about, I had to show him some love. Like this, it was just insane, like about this dude.
Well, I love that you both you and Craig got Satchel. That was my biggest thing I was pissed at myself about for this exercise, was not getting Satchel Paige on the list. And I like that that you got two Negro League guys on, and I did write ups on two Negro League guys. One was Satchel, another one we'll get to eventually. That were like they were on the list because I wanted to talk about them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love it. Oh, so where does that leave us? I got so into that I forget where we are.
Uh, Craig's
I think it's
18.
my 18. By the
Yeah.
way, we gotta pick it up.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, we're seeing.
We're already an hour in, and we're on two. We've done we've done two
Yeah, all
players
right.
each.
I'm with you, man. Let's go.
At this page, we'll be here till 6 o'clock. All right.
We're moving at the pace of a necro knuckleball. Let's go.
Yes. Well, only because I know that you had a little bit of a time frame, right?
Yeah, for
Al?
4:30 is my out. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, um, next one, number 18, is Don Sutton.
Ah, another in my six, Craig, that didn't make the list, but I love Sutton.
324 wins. That's why he's on here for me.
Yeah, man, good enough.
326 ERA, 1.14 WHIP, over 3,500 strikeouts.
That's the thing I was going to bring up about him, and that where that ranks him all time is quite impressive. By the way,
Yeah, I don't know where do you know where it ranks
I'll
him?
have it in a second. I had it pulled up. I just have to get it here. Ba-ba-ba.
Jesus, he played a lot of years.
Yeah, he played
Yes,
a
he did.
long time, long time.
23
Um,
years.
Don Sutton is number 7 all time in strikeouts.
Wow.
Yep,
Yep, he's right
very
there. I
impressive.
mean, yeah, just really, and I do remember him.
Me too. And his curly fro.
Yes, he did have the curly fro. That's for sure.
I'm a
My
big Don Sutton guy, man. Again, another tough guy for me to leave off the list. I'm glad he made yours. That's awesome.
my page is just my internet for some reason is super super slow.
Okay.
Anyway, Good War 66. Yeah, the 324. Going back to the shutouts, he had
Wow.
58 shutouts in 178 complete games.
Wow.
Jeez,
Ah,
you're
by the
never.
way, quick interjection, Craig. The now we just said he's seventh all time in strikeouts, right?
Yep.
His Ks per nine, 6.1.
Yep. Well, he played for a generation and a half.
Yeah, that's right. He really did.
He played in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I mean,
Yeah, he played while there were hippies and he played while MTV was on the air.
yeah.
That's funny. Uh,
Oh, I love it, man. That's amazing. Isn't that interesting though? Just to go back to that case per nine thing that I'm there's a story that weaves throughout this to me. Um, seventh all time in strikeouts, and it's just the era, and it's just the way the game is gone. It's there's no I'm not trying to say good, bad, or indifferent here. It's just interesting that seventh all time didn't strike out more than a batter an inning. Not even close. I find that absolutely fascinating. It's really cool to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You gotta play a long time to get there, and
Yeah,
he
and the
still is there.
versatility of these old pitchers. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're gonna throw, if you're gonna throw, if you're gonna start 40 games and complete 15 of them, like he did in sorry, phone fell in some of these years, then you can't just go out and try and strike out everybody every night. You're not gonna get through the night. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So
He had
yeah.
some great years in there. I'm looking at him now. Some of these years are ridiculous. 72. He was 19-9 with a 2.08 ERA, 18 complete games, 33 starts, and a 0.9 WHIP.
He was a really good whip guy, top notch whip guy, no doubt.
Yeah. So
oh yeah.
that's my guy. That's Don Sutton is my number 18.
That's a good one, man. Really
Oh,
good
I,
one.
I didn't realize this. His 756 starts is third all time.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yep,
good one.
behind two people that I'm pretty sure are gonna make our list.
That's awesome. Good one. Good one. I didn't catch that. Very nice.
All right, Al, your turn.
Okay, and we're at 18, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we go, boys, because this is going to be a really interesting one to
Oh,
see
dude.
where he ended up on your list. This is the lowest war that made my top 20 by far. I didn't know where to put him. I just knew he had to be in my top 20. And I didn't know where to put him. So I looked up seven different uh whether it was top 50 or top 100 pitchers of all time lists, and I put him on in the spot that was the average of those seven sites. Number 18, the left arm of God, Sandy Koufax.
Okay. Yes.
Hardest person to figure out because of his short prime and the fact that he retired at 30. Go ahead, guys.
Well, he was my number 12.
Okay, and I won't argue that at all. I won't argue if he's in your top 10. Jordan,
Uh, actually, he is my top 10. He's my number 9.
there you go. Okay. And I have seen here by the way, real quick, here I have ranker.com Bleacher Report had him at number 5 and number 6. The Score had him at number 10. Baseball Fever had him at number 15. Sports Math Network at number 25, Baseball Scholar at 30, and Baseball Egg at number 34. So there is more variable with this guy than any because of the short career and the insanely top notch, maybe best of all time prime.
Yeah, I think I would argue, even against some of the guys we haven't gone up against, he had the greatest 5-year run of any hit pitcher in the history of baseball.
You can make that case, and I wouldn't argue it.
Listen, uh, 25-5, 19-5, 26-8, 27-9. ERAs of 1.8, 1.7, 2.0, 1.7.
Yeah.
Over 300 innings every year except for the second year for 223. Uh, had 27 complete games, 2 years in a row, the last two, had 382 strikeouts in 1965. He had 306, 223, 382, and 317 those years. And his whip was under one every one of those years except one, and it was 1.03.
Yeah. I mean,
That is the greatest 5 year run you will ever see.
that's incredible. It's incredible. There's a couple other things I want to throw at you while we're talking insane Sandy Koufax. Now, he is the first pitcher, and this is my story of the day. He is the first starting pitcher in the history of baseball to retire with more than one strikeout per inning at 9.3. Now, check this out. He retired in 1966. Is that correct? Yeah, 66 was his last season. That the next pitcher to retire with more than one 9 per 9 is Nolan Ryan in 1993.
Jesus.
Wow.
That is trailblazing, the likes of which you rarely ever see.
He won 3 Cy Young Awards and an MVP and came in second in the MVP twice.
Right, right.
Hmm.
He
Yeah,
won an MVP and he won what it was in second twice, 3 Cy Youngs, and then came in third another year. My God,
incredible.
like I said,
His
five
four
year
no
run.
hitters,
What's that? Yep, four no
four no
hitters.
hitters,
Yep.
still second all time, by the way.
Yep, that run is untouchable in my eyes.
It, I'm actually reading like an article about him.
Mhm.
His 59 season, the yeah, when he won the Cy Young, uh, and he set records in that um year alone.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, like in 59, struck out 18 in the game, which set a record, and then he set a record for um strikeouts in 2 games, which was 31.
Wow.
Yeah,
how about this? His postseason accolades: 57 postseason innings, a WHIP of 0.8, and an ERA of 0.9.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to
wow.
bring that up. By the way, his
50.
strikeouts per nine went up to 9.6 per nine in the postseason too, and that's
Yep.
over 57 innings, a very big sample size. Um, I mean, he might be he's in the discussion for greatest pitcher in the history of the postseason for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely. And he won the MVP of the World Series twice.
yeah, yeah, right, right. I mean, it's incredible what this guy did. He's elected to the Hall of Fame at 36 years old, youngest ever, and probably will remain that, barring something weird. Did
Yep.
you know he played basketball at the University of Cincinnati and averaged 9.7 points per game and 7.8 rebounds per game for 1 year before he left to become a baseball player?
No.
No.
He's 6'2", 210, which I never realized watching the footage that he was that big.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah, the run is just insane.
Yeah,
I just wonder why. Did he get hurt and just did not want to come back different?
he- arthritis.
Yeah,
It was
that's a
something that,
shame.
yeah, it was something that couldn't be gotten rid of, which
Yeah,
is,
that's a shame because if he could have kept going, he probably would be regarded as one of the best ever or the best ever.
yeah, you never know. And like
Yeah,
I say and it's interesting to talk about. And that's the fun thing about the Koufax early retirement. It's a lot like Jimi Hendrix dying at 27. We'll never know because, like I like to say, Jimi Hendrix might have gone on to be the greatest guitar player of all time, like some still consider him to be, or he might have sucked in the 80s like a lot of hippie bands from the 60s did.
right. We
You ever
never
hear Starship?
he never got old enough to put out crap.
That's what I'm saying. And Sandy never pitched at 42 years old with a rubber arm like a lot of these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But
Right.
for what he gave us, my God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like it's so fascinating to try and figure out. Now the other and this is not to be negative about Sandy, it's only to put it in context. Um the only reason I didn't go significantly higher and is because not only is that did he retire young, but outside of those 5 years, he wasn't even just not Sandy Koufax. He wasn't even that good. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. It's weird.
It is. Like I don't understand it. I don't know
Like
what
a
got
switch
into
got
him
flipped, and then all of a sudden he was like God for 5 years.
exactly. Because before then he was hovering right around the low fours ERA. You know,
Yeah,
Hmm.
and the people that were around then said that like it was like an automatic. Like every time he started, you knew he wasn't. It was going to be like 1-0. Like he was not going to give up anything,
it's
and
amazing.
he was so consistently, you know, stellar, spectacular, whatever you want to describe him as. He was so consistent at it that it was just an automatic thing. As soon as he was announced as a starting pitcher, you knew if you were the other team, you were screwed.
Just done. Just done. That's awesome. It's almost like Tyson fighting people in the '80s or something.
Yeah, no shot.
That's so cool, man. And by the way, I don't want to gloss over that. What is arguably one of the coolest nicknames I've ever heard in my life, the left arm of God.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't remember that nickname. That was new to me, and I don't I can't believe I never heard it before. But that was really cool to find out.
I heard it before, but I had forgotten.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, Sandy was my 18, and again, where was he on your guys' list?
12.
And
Jordan.
I had him at number 9.
Right on. And I won't argue any of that. I want you can put Sandy Koufax anywhere you want.
And
Yep.
then to close out the Sandy Koufax, here's a quote. I think we know who's by, which is still one of my favorites. I could see how he won 25 games. What I don't understand is how he lost 5.
Yeah, there you
Yogi
go.
Berra. Yogi
Oh,
Berra.
that's perfect. That's perfect. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Uh, all
All
right.
right.
So my 17.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right. So here's one of many guys. Um, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I put him this low, but hey, you can't change what I wrote down. Tom Glavine is my number 17.
Okay.
All right. He did not make my list. He was one definitely considered for sure. But he
Definitely.
got two Cy Youngs and 300 wins. Was tough
Yeah,
to keep off.
No doubt. No doubt. And yeah, he was definitely a consideration for me for sure. He was one of my 31. No doubt about it. And part of one of the most legendary pitching staffs of of modern times.
right.
Yes.
Here's another thing. Walked 1,500 batters because he did not want to throw over the plate. Even if he was ahead, he did not want to throw in the middle.
Glavine was an interesting cat. And because of that, he's going to have one of the higher whips on this list too, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, led NO and starts 6 times, including um a 4 in a row from 99 to 02. And then this was interesting too. I didn't know this, but apparently, I guess either back then or maybe they still do. I don't know. He became the 5th left-handed uh, pitcher to win 3,000 games.
Uh,
He was.
300, right?
Yes.
Right on. Dig it.
So
Dig it.
what? Yeah, around the time when he won, he was only 5th to do that.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he won 20 games. One, two, three, four, 5 times. He won 20
Yeah,
games.
that's a big number. That really is a big number, man.
Damn.
Yeah. And then,
A lot of bold on his page here.
oh yeah,
Yeah, games started. He stayed healthy for like, you know, for
uh,
modern times. Look at the amount of years over 30 starts.
Yeah. What about the years 99 to 02, 35, 35, 35, 36?
Yeah, man, he led the league in starts like what, 6 times. That's interesting.
With 36. And the thing is, now you're lucky if you can get 30 out of an ace kind
Oh,
of pitcher.
absolutely. Absolutely. You
oh
rarely see
yeah,
it cross that threshold anymore. Yep.
yep. Um,
Wow.
and then what? Even his, I don't know, his playoffs are, I wouldn't say is really
His
good, but like
Well,
they're
his
not.
playoffs are right on par with his regular
Yeah,
season. They're actually better.
yeah.
I
That's
in
what I was gonna
fact, it's
say.
funny because I was expecting those numbers. In my head, he had a reputation as a shaky playoff pitcher. Am I wrong, Craig?
Yeah, he did.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
His numbers are better in the playoffs than during his regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
must have been from 92 when he had a 4.1 ERA and then it just never went away or something. I don't know. But that's interesting.
Yeah, 218 innings is like another year basically
This is a
of
whole season.
pitching
Yeah,
in
that's
the postseason.
oh, that's
Yeah, he had
fascinating. Yeah, because
35.
that
He had
that
35 starts in the postseason.
yeah.
That's a season. So he had a 3.30 ERA, a 1.27 WHIP, which is right on par with it with everything. Yeah, had some decent number of strikeouts per nine. Yeah, all that is right on par with his regular season.
Isn't that interesting, man? That's a case of reputation not being accurate. And by the way, Ks per nine for Glavin in his career 5.3.
Yep. In the
Wow.
playoffs was 5.9.
Yep. And that's another trademark of great pitching is numbers going up in the playoffs or getting better in the playoffs. Put it that way.
Oh, also, I wanna. I'll check with it and see if I could do it. I think he's also the only person to get drafted in baseball and in hockey.
Yes, I think you're right. Yep.
Ah,
I know he
But
loves hockey.
yes, he loves hockey, and I want to say there were where he got drafted. He got drafted above like two well-known Hall of Famers in hockey. I can't
I,
find it, but I remember hearing that story.
yeah. Yep. Yep.
I forgot that. You're right. He's famously a very big hockey guy. That's great.
Yep.
All right, good stuff.
All right.
All right.
So
Al, I think it'll be your turn, right? Because Craig, your 17 was taken.
no, my 17 wasn't.
That was me. That was Marischal for me.
Oh, I'm mixing up numbers. Sorry.
All good. No worries, my
Oh,
man.
good. So my 17 is probably much higher on your list. I don't know why I've always had something against him, but
I love a good Craig grudge. Let's go.
I don't know why. There's no reason for me to have it. But my number 17 is Nolan Ryan.
Aha. All right. Yep.
Wow.
Nolan is definitely a next pod guy for me. Let me see where I had
Me,
him.
me too.
Yeah, I know you guys have him a lot higher. I almost didn't have him on the list at all.
Right. That's awesome.
What?
I love it. I
You know
love it.
why? I'll
Why?
tell you why. He has the most walks in the history of baseball,
Yes.
and his whip is not all that impressive either. And he has one of the most amount of losses in the history of baseball as well. His winning percentage is not great. 324 wins, 292 losses. That's not special. I don't care what anybody says. Nolan Ryan was good, not great.
That's insane. I
Uh,
love you, but that's insane.
yeah.
He
If
had
you
the
didn't think he was
strikeouts.
great, he wouldn't be number 17 on your list because all of these
Right.
pitchers are great.
Right. That's true. That's true. He great, but not top 10 great. How about that?
Right on, that's fair. Yep, yep. I
Um,
disagree, but that's fair, but it's totally understandable that take. Absolutely.
yeah, 5,700 strikeouts, but like to me, the wins aren't as impressive because he played for like 75 years. So, he's going to get the 300 wins. The
Well,
strikeouts are
Craig,
also
the
kind of
only person on this list that didn't play that length of time so far that anybody has mentioned is Sandy Koufax. So we can't be that ripping
yeah,
on him
but
for
did
that.
he play longer than anybody?
Did he?
I honestly
He
thought
doesn't
Nolan
have the
Ryan just,
yellow for games or games started.
I honestly thought he had the most of anybody like in history.
I mean, Phil Necro played longer. I mean, Phil Necro played till he was 48. Don Sutton played till his mid 40s.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
he was
I'm looking
46.
now. Wait, are we doing games like for pitcher?
Yeah, he had 773 games started.
Yes, and that's absolutely a big number. It's just, it's not the most ever or anything.
Right. Well, I mean, there's one guy that's going to be more than that because, yeah. 807 games it has. But
Yes, and
regardless,
773 starts. Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot. It's a big number. But I
I mean,
will
he played
say
from
Don
19.
Sutton is right behind him and Phil Necro's two behind him. So
He played in 5 decades.
Is that true? That's crazy.
60s, 70s, 80s, not no, 4 decades. But he just missed, yeah. So four decades he played it over.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He led the league in walks. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven.
Wow.
He led the league in walks 8 times.
Yes. Yes.
Um. So I looked it up. There's one guy ahead of him, but I don't know if I should say his name, if he's gonna be on our list or.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. I
we'll
know
hold off on
exactly.
that one. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so yeah, that's what I mean.
He's
So the 324 doesn't impress me. I'm sorry, it doesn't. That much. Don't get me wrong. It
yeah,
impressed me a little bit, but not that much.
yeah,
Right,
but
right, right.
yeah, he's
The
second.
5,700 strikeouts, no matter how long you play, that's ridiculous. And I'm not going to take that away from him at all. You can't do it. And he's also over nine strikeouts per nine, the 9.5.
The
You know,
first one
I
since
do have him
Koufax.
17. It's not like I didn't have him on the list at all, although I kind of was trying not to put him on the list. But regardless, 319 ERA, decent. 125, okay. 83 WAR, good. Just not top 10 to me. That's all. But there he
Yeah,
is.
fair enough.
Going right number
Absolutely.
17. Where'd you guys have him?
I had him at 10, actually.
Okay.
Oh wow, I have him three.
Oh
Oh,
my
I love it.
goodness.
Okay. So we're all over the place with Nolan,
Yeah,
and it's all
I don't.
fine with me.
And the funny thing is, I don't know why. I kind of maybe it's because I did. Even though he started before I was born, but I saw him all the way to 93, which was still a good 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In the last 10 years, in my eyes, I was like, he's okay.
It's so
He's
funny,
nothing
man.
special. Like, he's all right.
Yeah,
But like
wait a
I
minute.
saw him like because I didn't see him for 3 years. I saw him for 10 years, and he was okay. But
Oh, that's so.
he wasn't that great to me. Now the seven no hitters is really what put him on the list. That
Yeah,
once
that's
I
hard to ignore.
I knew about it, but then once I saw it again, I'm like I gotta put him on there. So that's why he's on here.
Yeah, that's hard to ignore the seven no hitters for sure. Yeah, that's
But never won a Cy Young.
yeah, which is that one. I won't hold that against anybody because that's anything that baseball writers vote on. I'm not going to hold on against anybody.
I was curious because of the whole strikeouts, and someone actually did the math. So if a pitcher in his rookie season began with 300 strikeouts and played and matched Nolan Ryan for 18 seasons, he would be 14 strikeouts short.
Getting 300 a year.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's crazy.
Well, that's because Nolan had 383, 367. He had a few years well over 300.
I mean, yeah, but to Boston play for 27 years, that's insane.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean that.
and to be good till the last season. Two
Yeah,
2 years before he retired, he was 12-6 with a 2.91 ERA and a 1.006 WHIP
yeah.
at 44 years old. And
I
I
don't know.
think that's the year. I'm pretty sure that's the year he pitched his seventh no hitter. I think.
I think so.
But yeah, no. Maybe did you have Robin Ventura's rookie card? Is that why you don't like Nolan Ryan?
I mean, I definitely had Robin Ventura's rookie card.
Remember when he put him in a headlock and pummeled the crap out of him?
That was fantastic.
That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
That's awesome. I remember that.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I'm going to hold off on talking more about Ryan until the next one because I haven't done my full research yet on all the little nuggets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold off there. But Craig, totally cool where you put him. I get that 100%. Although, please tell me you would not be in line with my least favorite sports reporter of all time, Bill Conlon, who's the biggest idiot in the history of Philly sports media, and that's saying something. Who did not even put him on the ballot the first year.
No, I would not. He's got to be on the ballot. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I said, I mean, I still have him 17, so it's not like I don't.
100%. 100%. I'm cool with that. I get it. Like there's a case to be made. If you don't
I
if
guess
you don't
it's
like
just.
walks, Nolan Ryan is not your guy.
I guess it's just. I guess it was just the eye test because I saw him for a while and he was good. Not he was never like in that time frame that I saw him. He didn't win any Cy Youngs his entire career, but he was never really even in contention during that time. He came in like fifth one year, and that was like the highest. I don't know. Just he was really good then, but I wasn't saying that this is like an all time great pitcher that I'm seeing. I just didn't get that feeling when I did for other people, like I don't know, Randy Johnson and Pedro and Maddox and all those guys.
Right, but and the last thing I'll say, and it's your opinion, and I'm 100% cool with it, no matter what. But I will say, you watch those guys in their prime, and you watch Nolan Ryan from age 37 to 46,
Right, right, and that's probably part of the bias.
coloring it. Yeah, I get it, 100% makes perfect sense. And again, even if whatever justification you or anybody wants to give, 17 is legit. I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? Or and so is Jordan at what did you say 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm fine with both of them.
It is great that we're all over the place with them, all over the place with them.
Yeah, it was kind of like Sandy Koufax. You know what I mean? And I knew Sandy was going to be all over the place. I was curious about Ryan and a few others. So this is as exciting and fun as I was hoping it was going to be. Oh, by the way, a little note I made that I want to throw out at some point, and I'll just say it real quick right now. Um, the Cy Young Award, which we like to throw around, and it's a big thing for pitchers, and I just want historical perspective to be out there. The Cy Young Award started in 1956. So
Yep.
we have to keep that in mind when we're talking about Cy Youngs. But also, I didn't know this. Did you guys know this? Because I didn't. This was new to me. It was an overall baseball award until 1967, and then they split it into AL/NL. So only one pitcher in all of baseball got the Cy Young for the first 11 seasons.
Wow,
Wow.
I didn't know that before. That was new news to me. So I want to throw that out for our listeners and for us.
that's cool.
Nice.
Right, right on.
It's
Okay, where
one of
does
the
that
ones
take us,
that
Jordan?
I really put a lot of stock in, though. I don't know why.
Say that again.
I really put a lot of stock in the Cy Youngs.
I do too. Even as I every time it comes up, I destroy reporters for their stupid stuff. I
Yeah,
still do too. I still do too.
just like MVPs, I put a lot of stock in.
Same. And even though we could probably look at a lot of those MVP votes and realize, oh, somebody else should have won it that year. Same with Cy Youngs. I still put a ton of stock in it, so I get it
But I
100%.
put less stock in Hall of Fame voting.
Yeah. Well, I think my feelings are clear about that.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I still think it's interesting. One more thing, and then we could go on. He's never won a Cy Young.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
Sorry.
was one of
it
my
is.
things against him. He's never won one.
Yeah, it is
Oh,
amazing, and I would like to know who won the Cy Young in the Houston was in the NL still in the 80s. Yes, who won the NL Cy Young in 1981, the strike season when Nolan Ryan had a 1.69 ERA and went 11-5.
Yeah, I don't know.
you said
Because there were
81.
some years where you look at it and you're like, how did he not win a Cy Young?
You said 81.
Yes.
Fernando Valenzuela.
Oh, it was Fernando Mania. And I bet if you look at their numbers, I bet Nolan's were better. And I love Fernando, but Fernando Mania everybody got caught up in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Um.
That's awesome.
All right. So we're around 16 now. Mine was
Yes.
mine was taken. I had Jenkins.
Okay, Craig.
Your 17 was taken out.
Yes, it was Juan Marichal.
Okay, okay. So my 16 is Gaylord Perry.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. One of my favorite characters in the history of the game. And I will tell you this, he is in my first 6, but I kept him off because he got caught cheating.
Right, right.
And
I
I love him
understand that.
anyway. And he wrote a book, by the way, while he was playing, where he talked about how he cheats.
Yeah.
He is the most fun cheater in the history of baseball. I
Yeah,
will say
like
that.
it was, even though he cheated, he seemed so lighthearted
I
and
agree.
likable that you didn't really think that I don't know. I didn't really hold it against him.
I know what you're saying. I get that 100%. But I just looked at it like, and I won't disagree with any take anybody has on it. But for me, if I was going to keep off PED cheaters, I had to keep off cheaters. That's just how I looked at it. But I'm cool. I'm glad we're talking about him because he's awesome.
His WAR is 93 as a pitcher.
Yeah, it's a big number, man.
Played 22 years, over 5,000 innings, over 3,500 strikeouts, two Cy Youngs, 300 wins. I mean, a lot of losses. 265. That's a knock against him for me. That's a lot of losses. But I mean, he played 777 games,
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
53 shutouts, 10 saves. Why do all these starters from back in the day just randomly have 10, 12, 7 save, like just randomly a save here and there? It's weird.
It is. Well, you they would use
Oh,
him in differently back then. Look at his 64 and 65 seasons. 19 starts, 44 games pitched, 26 starts, 47 games
yeah, 4
pitched.
saves. It's
Yeah,
weird.
exactly. So yeah, a couple little things like that here and there, and boom, you have a number in your column at the end of your
Look at
career.
these innings: 325, 328, 280, 342, 344, 322, 305. My God.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was a true rubber arm.
insane. Um,
Yeah, but 2 Cy Youngs came in second another time, has MVP votes, and yeah, he's my number 16.
I love it, and clearly the inspiration for that old relief pitcher character in Major League,
Oh
who's
yeah.
who's who's
yeah.
juicing the ball every opportunity.
Yeah, he had the what was the Vaseline on his stomach? He would rub it and use that, and yeah, all the things, all the
Um,
little tricks.
Totally, man. I love it. That's awesome. And what you said about him being like a benign cheater makes perfect sense to me. It's so funny you said it that way because it absolutely, for some reason, it never really bothered me at all, like the PED thing, even though it is straight up cheating. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I mean, it's kind of like how David Ortiz got into the Hall of Fame.
yeah. Because he's
Everybody
cuddly
holds
and
everybody holds it against Aaron, doesn't put him in. And Gaylor and David Ortiz goes right in, and he was on the same damn list.
yeah, because he's cuddly to the media.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
it's fascinating. Yes, I'm with you. Go ahead, Jordan.
now, I'll say, here's some interesting stats. You mentioned the two Cy Young awards. First to ever win it in both leagues.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that's right. Good call. Good call.
yep. Um, you mentioned uh, all his saves. In '72, he had 41 appearances, and in all 41 appearances, he had a decision, meaning it was either a win, loss, or a save. And get this. Now we talk about how much the game has changed. Oh, listen to this with Gaylord Perry. So he once saved a 16 inning game. 2 days later, on one day's rest. So
What?
yeah,
Whoa.
so on one day, so he pitched at one day's rest, save a 16 inning game, and then two uh 2 games later he comes in and struck out like 12 in a game.
That's oh man. Yeah. It's
I
amazing what the human body was capable of back then.
Wow.
like that was insane when I looked that up. I said, "There's no way
That's a
that's
good one.
that's real." But no, yeah, it's real.
Good one, Jordan.
Ah. So yeah, Gaylord Perry. That's my
Oh,
16. Al, do you have a 16?
I do, and I can't wait to see where you guys have this guy. If he made even, I'm gonna guess that he did not make your list, but I'm curious if he made your honorable mentions. And this is a slight homer, but it's a completely legit homer, and that is Mr. Robin Roberts.
Not on my list, but definitely on my honorable mentions. Go
Cool,
for it, man. He's on my honorable mentions. He was on my list.
awesome.
He was considered for sure.
Right on. Very cool. So Robin Roberts, a Philly, one of the best Phillies of all time. Career WAR of 86.2, so big old number for Robin.
Yep.
10-time All-Star, 286 and 245 for his career. Now, not the Nolan Ryan-esque in his winning percentage, actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not the greatest winning percentage, but
But here's a big factor, and I wonder how much this weighs into Nolan Ryan's career actually too. That might be something I'll look into for the next pod. But here's a big factor in that, and this is why Robin gets a boost for me. During his 12 or wait, his I didn't write down how many seasons, but during the time he was played for Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies were 819 and 1,023.
Okay, so they were not a good team.
One of the worst teams in baseball for the entire stretch he was there. They had the Whiz Kids 1950 World Series team that lost to the Yankees, and other than that, they had I think one finish over 500 for the entire time he was there. So, can you guys hear me? Okay, I had to move spots.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah, we're
I
good.
can hear you.
Okay, great. So there's Robin Roberts. And now, a couple things about him. He led the National League in WAR for a pitcher 5 times. He led in wins 4 times. Games started 6 times. Complete games 5 times. Innings pitched 5 times. Strikeouts twice. Whip once. He is the absolute definition of a workhorse. Now, I didn't look at his shutout number, which I'm going to have to do, but his complete game number, check this one out, 305.
Wow.
305 damn complete games. He had a 6-year run from 1950 through 1955 seasons where he averaged 323 innings pitched a season, 27 complete games a season, and over 20 wins a season. We talked about Sandy Koufax 5-year run, and it's not that, but it's a damn good run.
Wow. Holy crap.
What else? Oh, okay. Another neat thing. He when he pitched for the Phillies for most of his career, but then towards the end, he went and played with the Orioles for a few years. And when he was 38 years old, his roommate on the road was a 19-year-old Jim Palmer. And Jim Palmer was looking for sage advice from the wily veteran one night when they were winding down, and he asked him to tell him about pitching. And Robin Roberts said, "Throw the hell out of the ball and go to sleep."
That's awesome.
Palmer said it was some of the best advice he ever got.
That's funny.
I love it. So yeah, Robin Roberts, man, one of the best. He's considered the one of the best players to ever play for the Phillies. By most people, I think he's probably considered the third best player in franchise history. And because of the lack of success of those teams, he often gets forgotten by the baseball world in large, at large, I should say. So I wanted to put him on my list.
He had 45 shutouts, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It's funny that all these guys on our list are somewhere in that 45 to 60 range so far. You know,
Seems to
Right.
be, yeah.
funny how there's. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there's like traits among greatness. You know, I love it. So that's all I have on Robin. I wanted to get him out there.
No, that's a
Awesome.
good pick. I like that.
Thanks, man.
Uh, where are we going now? 16?
That was my 16. I think. Did it? Was that right, or did you have a 16,
Oh,
Jordan?
yeah. No, right. My 16 was taken. I had Jenkins.
Right, and
Okay.
I just did the other period 16. So we're on 15.
All right. My guy. Again, I knew the name, just didn't know how good. I for my 16 or 15, sorry. Bob Feller.
Ah,
Oh, love it. He is
one of the
my 14.
one of the
Oh,
worst,
nice.
one of the hardest ones to leave off my list.
Yeah, and all that makes sense. You know,
Tough.
Um,
this is a good one. Go ahead, Jordan.
no,
This
it
is
is.
great.
What in his 1, 2, 3, his fourth year, uh, in the big leagues, and then he had 3 straight years where he won 20 plus games. Um, he,
Mm.
uh, he ended up leading the league in strikeouts 7 times, which is in
Mm.
which and then at the age at 17, his first game he ever pitched, he struck out 15.
Man,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and then nothing big, but you could. I heard about how much he loved the game, and he loved and wanted to give back, and he was the first ever MLB Players Association president ever.
Yes, yes, that's right. I read up on that too, man. Wasn't that interesting?
No, that was very interesting. I found that. I'm like, I have to put that in.
He was the person. Him and one other guy were largely responsible for the player representatives hiring Marvin Miller, and then he got pissed at Marvin Miller because Miller promised him that they would never strike, and that Miller immediately striked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, also, it's not no hitters, but I looked this up too. He also has a career of 12 one hitters.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Good stuff.
that very good very good player. Oh, and also 266 wins and 162 losses with an ERA of 3.25.
Yeah, and let me throw this at you too while we're talking Mr. Feller, because, and I'm going to call him Mr. Feller because this guy, first of all, three different nicknames. Bullet Bob, and they all had to do with his incredible fastball, by the way, which we're going to get to in a second. Bullet Bob, Rapid Robert, and I usually all these old school guys have some name from their hometown, and usually I just don't even get into them because they're usually kind of silly and obvious. But this one's too good. The Heater from Van Meter. I like that one. I'd never heard that one. I'd heard Bullet Bob and Rapid Robert, but I'd never heard the Heater from Van Meter. So, now this guy was considered one of the greatest strikeout artists of his day. 6.1 strikeouts per nine. Again, different times, but
Yep.
a wizard in his time. He lost the most of all but a few starts of 4 seasons to World War II.
Yep. That's another. Yep. Another war wartime guy who lost a lot of money and stats from that.
No doubt, no doubt. And yeah, so I always give a little bump to those guys for sure. He was top 5 in the MVP voting 4 times, top 8 6 times, MVP. Um, did you say this, Jordan? Did I zone this out? Did you talk about he has the only no hitter in opening day in Major League Baseball history?
No, I didn't.
Isn't that a cool one?
That
That's a good
yeah.
one.
Chicago against the Chicago White Sox on April 16th, 1940. You talked about the 12 one hitters. That's amazing. Now, here, if anybody has not seen the video of the Army bringing in Army ordnance equipment, a machine called the Cumeline chronograph, which was designed to measure the speed of artillery shells in World War II. They brought this into this to where he was pitching one night and had him clocked at 98.6 miles an hour.
What?
Yeah. There's video of it. You can find it. It's on YouTube. All right. So anybody that hasn't seen this, check it out. They set up this thing that looks like he's pitching. It looks like one of those like almost like the targets they throw footballs through at the Pro Bowl, but it's set over home plate in a with a strike zone, and he throws it right through that thing and it registers a miles per hour.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? And it's also narrated by some old timey guy who sounds like, "Hey, boys, we're gonna play a little baseball tonight." You know, it's awesome, man.
Like
It's
1950s ad men.
yes, it's perfect. It's so good, so good. All right, couple last things about Bullet Bob. His 18 strikeouts against Detroit on 10-2-38 was a record until it was tied 14 years later.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stood for
Um,
14 years. Wow.
14 years. How about that? Now here's this is some stuff about his service, and then I'm ready to move on. He debuted at 17 years old in
Yep.
MLB, by the
I
way.
remember that.
And then on December 7th, 1942, he was driving from Van Meter, Indiana to Chicago to negotiate his 42 season contract when he heard on the radio about the attack about Pearl Harbor. He immediately decided to enlist in the Navy and was sworn in at a Navy recruitment office 2 days later.
Oh, so he was all gung ho to do that.
He was ready to rumble. And his first game back after the service on August 24th, 1945, just 3 days after his discharge, he pitched a 4-hit complete game and won 4-2 over Detroit with 12 strikeouts.
That's awesome.
he he also, and this guy is cool for so many reasons, and not the least of which is this next thing. He played in and organized many off-season barnstorming trips with Satchel Paige, pitched against him numerous times.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of that. But
And I love that so much. And another neat thing that shows he was a trailblazer in the strikeout realm. He set the single season strikeout record in 1946 with 348, and that was held until Koufax broke it in 65 with 382. So for almost 20 years.
jeez.
Jeez.
Yeah, Bullet Bob. And I did a little math. If you give him his lowest WAR of the 3 seasons prior to his WAR service, and just give that to him for the 4 seasons he missed, his WAR would be just under 100.
Yep.
Wow, nice.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yep, I was fired up to talk about him. If you couldn't tell.
Just a little bit, Al. Just a little bit.
I love it.
Uh,
All right, what's next?
um, then we're on 15. Who has 15?
Okay, Craig.
All right. Number 15 for me. Al, I'm very curious where you put this guy.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
sure he must be on your list. I'll be surprised if he's not.
I think I might know where you're going here. Let's see. Let's see.
The famous Philly, Steve Carlton.
Boom! And when I said Robin Roberts was probably considered the third greatest Philly of all time, Mike Schmidt is clearly one. Steve Carlton is two.
Yep.
And he is, let me just make sure I'm right. I think I know where I put him. Let me make sure I'm right about it. Yeah, he is number 9 on my list.
Awesome. Is he on your list, Jordan, or no?
Yeah, he's actually my 14.
Oh,
Oh, right
perfect.
on. Okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah,
Okay,
lefty,
let's
baby.
talk about Steve Carlton. 4 Cy Youngs,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That gets him on the
5,000.
list if nothing else, right?
Yeah, 5,000 innings, 4,000 strikeouts, 300 wins. I mean, what else do you want?
Yeah, a partridge in a
All
pear
the
tree is about all you need.
all the benchmarks. Oh, you're gonna get in the Hall of Fame if you get 300 wins. Got him. Oh, you're gonna get into the Hall of Fame. You need to have over 3,000 strikeouts. Got him. I mean, it's just more, and he had over 4,000. Just everything
Yes.
you could possibly want. His baseball reference page is littered in bold numbers. Absolutely ridiculous. And the year he won one of the Cy Youngs, I think his best year was 1972.
Well,
yes.
okay, and let me just say this, but and you go off, Craig. This season is considered widely to be one of the greatest pitching performances in the history of baseball, in large part because the Phillies were 59 and 97 that year. So go ahead.
He went 27-10,
Yeah.
a 197 ERA,
Hmm.
started 41 games with 30 complete games,
Yep.
346 innings pitched,
Yes.
310 strikeouts,
Oh God.
and their strikeouts per nine was 8.1. His
Which
whips
was,
was 0.9.
let me point something out while you're on the whip, Craig. Think about this. Think about how accurate a pitcher he was to have led the league in hits allowed, right?
Yeah,
And still have a whip under one.
crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
And the shutout numbers that we keep referencing now, he's right there
Hmm.
on line with everybody else. 55.
There you go. Okay, man. That's the that magic number between like 45 and 60 for these Hall of Famers. It's great. Yeah, man. Lefty, man. Listen, this guy is one of the most fascinating characters in I think if the Phillies had been if he had played in a market that was doing really well during his career, I think people would be talking about him a lot more still to this day. He was a quirky dude. He didn't talk to the media for something like 20 straight years, something crazy like that. Like he just was like, I don't do that, you know. And he used to do the karate thing where he would karate chop a bowl full of rocks.
What?
Yeah, he
What?
used to karate chop a bowl full of rocks. Um, he did all kind. I'll have more when we do next week because again, I didn't get all my notes together for the top 10, but but I specifically remember karate chopping rocks, and he would wear a headband that looked like he was Ralph Macchio in the Karate Kid or something.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I mean?
remember the headband. I remember the
Yeah,
headband.
yeah, yeah. And he was just a fascinating fella who I think I've heard about 10 words out of his mouth his entire life. I've never seen him since he retired. No, I don't know where he went, what he did, no,
Well,
anything.
what would you say about his playoff career though? Because I'm looking at the numbers here. They're not quite on par.
Well, I don't, let me find this real quick. Okay. Yeah, you're right. No, no doubt. No doubt.
99 innings, a 3.26 ERA, but a 1.48 WHIP.
Yeah, I don't know how you have a 3.26 ERA with that whip. But yeah, it's not horrendous. I mean, the whip is
No,
horrendous, but
no, it's not. But
results aren't horrendous.
it's just not
But
like on par.
it was the big ones were 67 and I'm sorry, 76 and 77 because he that was a the 78 one he pitched okay, I guess, or a little better at least, but that 3-year run for the Phillies was one of the most disappointing runs for a franchise ever in Philly, because they had a incredible team. This was the Phillies 70s team with Mike Schmidt that was before they added Pete Rose, and then they added Pete Rose at the end of that. I think maybe 78 or 9. Yeah, the fact that your ace went into the playoffs and put up a 6.94 ERA in 77 wasn't great. But to end his career with a 3.26 after having that 1 year isn't
Yeah,
too
well,
bad.
1980 he pitched well. He had a 2.30 ERA that year.
Yes, and he was
Started 4 games, 27 innings, 2.3 ERA. That's good.
yeah, he was the man when they won the World Series for sure.
Even that year though, his WHIP was 1.53.
Yeah, he was a weird whip guy, man, like I don't know. That's really fascinating. It's like it sounds to me like he was started squeezing the corners more in the playoffs and walked a few more people, but I don't know.
But either way, one of the
He did
best.
walk 17 people in 27 innings that year they won the World Series. So maybe my theory,
Jeez, well there you
there's
go.
something to that theory, maybe. I love it.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, lefty man.
Four Cy Youngs cannot be denied.
Four Cy Youngs. I mean, that's second all time or third all time. I'm sorry, third all time.
Yep.
Um, and there's a lot of fun behind the scenes stuff with Steve Carlton. I'll bring that for the next pod.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good stuff. So who was that? Was that you, Craig?
That was my 15.
Okay. Okay. All right. So does that mean it's my 15?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I made a clerical error, and I'm trying to decide between two people right now.
What's the error?
when, when I did something earlier. Oh, it was last night when I was trying to figure out what to do with Koufax, and he landed at 18. I forgot to bump some. I forgot. I don't know what I did, guys. But here's where it lands. I know what I'm doing because this was one of my favorite people that I didn't put on the list, and he's going to make it now. And that is without question the best curveball I've ever seen in my life. And if you haven't seen this guy pitch, pull it up on the internet, watch it on MLB Network. You will have so much fun watching it. It's like watching somebody use the longest yo-yo in the history of yo-yos, and that is Bert Blyleven.
Ah, another one that was painful to leave off the list.
Yeah, man. And this guy, I just had he was he I think I could make a decent case that he is the one of the most underrated players in the history of baseball.
He's got
And
a
while he
90.
was
He's got a 94 WAR.
exactly, and that's why I put him over the other guy I was pondering. Which I won't bring up until we do our honorable mentions. But yeah, Blyleven, 96.1 WAR. That is the biggest WAR other than Phil Necro that I left off my list. Um, so now, Jordan, I know Craig, you definitely saw Blyleven pitch, obviously.
Yes.
So you know what I'm talking about with that hook.
Oh yeah.
Jordan, have you ever seen this hook?
Yes.
Okay, so good. You have a frame of reference. Unbelievable that thing.
Yeah. Probably the
I could
best.
put him on the list
One of
just for that curveball. Go ahead,
the,
Dave.
it's funny that you mentioned it because now that you mention it, I'm thinking back and I distinctly remember how ridiculous that thing was.
It really was, man. Like if he was facing a righty, it would go outside the farthest part of that guy's ass cheek, and then graze the far outside of the plate.
It was yeah, where it started and where it ended were completely was like a 2 foot difference.
Yeah, yeah. And I've just never seen another pitch like it. Like there's been awesome pitches in the history of the game. We could do a whole pod on the best pitches in the history of the game. Steve Carlton slider, by the way, I forgot to mention. I'll do 2 minutes on a slider next pod. That's one of the most famous pitchers ever in the history of the game as well. But this Blyleven curveball, man, I love it, love it, love it. Now he also has a lot of great numbers. He's a Hall of Famer. There's no, it's not. Oh, sorry, my precarious phone perch fell again. So now his page is not littered in black, but he did lead the league in WAR twice, innings pitched twice, strikeouts once, whip once. For a guy that had as much movement as him, a 1.198 whip is pretty amazing. 3.31 ERA, good, not great. But he hung on a little too long. He had he did have a. I mean, maybe I should probably take that back. Maybe 2 seasons too long, but he at age 38, he had one of the best seasons of his career. He had a 2.73 ERA, pitched 241 innings at 38, and had a whip of 1.16. So, but then he had an ERA of 5.24 and 4.74 his last 2 seasons. So that bloated that ERA a little bit. But just one of my favorite guys to watch ever. And I think one of the most criminally underrated people ever while he was playing and in retirement. And by the way, he was better in postseason. He
And
had, go
okay, go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, did I cut out for a second or something?
No, no, no.
Um,
I was going to mention something else, but I'll wait till you're done. Go ahead.
okay, cool. So I'll just mention the postseason stuff real quick. He had 47 and a third innings. He was 5-1 with a 2.47 ERA and a 1.077 whip.
Jeez, wow, yeah. So
That's
he was even better.
that's as dramatic an improvement as Sandy Koufax. And Sandy Koufax was awesome and then even awesomer. Bert was really, really good and then great.
Yep. No, just mentioning shutouts, 60 of them.
No kidding. Oh, Craig, I keep forgetting to look at that. I'm so glad you're remembering
60
that.
shutouts in 242 complete games.
Whoa. Whoa.
242 complete games.
Holy moly. I mean, that's insane.
His strikeouts per nine was at 6.7, so still not terrible compared to some of the others here.
Yeah, for that era, it's not bad.
Another one of these guys with a lot of losses, a 287 wins to 250 losses. We're running into that a lot lately. The
Yeah.
last few
Well, and
guys.
that happened a lot more in the old days because these guys were going out and getting decisions almost every time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like Warren Spahn got a loss for pitching 16 innings and giving up 1 run against Juan Marichal.
Right. There you go. Was he on your list, Jordan?
No, he was not.
Yeah, he wasn't on mine, but he was another one. I mean, there's just too many, like we've talked about. There's just so many guys that you want to put on the list, and you can't believe you don't get them on there. And that happened a lot.
Absolutely, man. 100% with you.
So
Yep. Very
I
cool.
I know we gotta get going, but I just because we keep mentioning um shutouts and complete games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my piqued my curiosity. I looked up most who has the most complete games against active pitchers. Here's the top three. I'm just gonna name the complete games: 26, 25, 16
Okay.
Of active pitchers.
of active pitchers.
Yeah, these guys are having 240.
Yeah,
That is I mean that jump is insane. I mean, we just had we had 300 something from somebody a minute or two ago. Was it Bob Feller? I forget who it was. Unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah,
that is wow.
I mean,
yeah.
these guys are having 20 a season.
Honestly, yeah. And shutouts against active players is 15.
Well, you know what it is. It's the max effort thing.
Yeah.
Before these guys weren't doing max effort and they were able to last longer, and now everybody, even starters, do max effort every pitch, and they
all
just
the
can't
time, right?
last. And they just
Yes.
can't last more than 5 or 6 innings.
That's absolutely correct.
Right.
Absolutely correct. That's why, and you're 100% correct. And that's why in the old days, when the guys weren't max effort every time, that's why you always see their strikeouts per nine go up in the playoffs.
Yeah, because then that's when they're max efforting.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, man. No, that's 100% correct. And it's just fascinating to just note the difference over time. You know, there's pros and cons to both eras, but they're both valid and cool in their own way, and it's a fun discussion. I love it.
Yeah.
All
All
And then
right.
right.
I don't know if I said, but also amongst active players, shutouts, it's 15. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, oh yeah,
That's a little different.
yeah, oh yeah. All right. So if one of you guys have a 14, go ahead. Mine was Steve Carlton.
Mine was Bob Feller.
Mine is not taken, and I wavered so much doing this because he's an absolute cheater. But it's a judgment call, as it was with some of the other guys in some of the other lists, active guys or guys who were in the steroid era. Definite cheater, but to be honest, I think he would have been on the list anyway. And his numbers are just so ridiculous. I put him on, and I put him low purposely because if he didn't cheat, he'd probably be like number two, maybe number one. But it's Roger Clemens.
There he is.
His WAR is 138.7.
It's that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah. I couldn't believe it when I saw that war number. I mean, I know how great he was, but I couldn't believe that number.
7 Cy Youngs, 354 wins, only 184 losses, 312 career ERA, 1.17, uh, 4,600 strikeouts,
Yeah.
4,900 innings. I mean, I just the numbers are so mind boggling. And again, I know he cheated, but I don't think he cheated early in his career when he was probably the most dominant. So it's kind of like Barry Bonds. Like Barry Bonds cheated, but I think the first 10 years of his career he didn't. But I didn't put him on at all because he was like the most famous cheater. I mean, he broke all the records and really annoyed me with the way he cheated. And Clemens did too, which is why he's only 17. Like I said, if these were legit numbers, he'd have to be like 2 or 3 probably.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's that. Listen, this is a fascinating one. I couldn't wait to see what everybody did with this. He is not on my list. I just for the same reason Gaylord Perry isn't. I'm just for the same reason I don't have any active people on. It's just if he got caught cheating, you're not on my list. That's it. You know, and I just decided to do that because it made it easier to know if I don't have Clemens and Perry, I get to put two other people on the list. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right, right.
but one of the greatest pitchers ever, an absolute bulldog, and yeah, I mean, it's just a shame that he's associated with the PED stuff because
And
he
he's a
was
psychopath. Don't forget that.
he's an absolute nutcase, absolute nutcase.
Throwing the bat at Piazza.
Yes, I mean, throwing the bat was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Uh, he was, I mean, yeah. Well, Jordan, what did you do with Roger Clemens?
Um, so I kind of did the same thing with I don't remember who had Bonds when we did the outfield, but I put him on neither.
Right on,
Yeah,
and all that you could put him as high as two or three. You could leave him off the list. You could do what Craig did, and it's all legit. It's so hard to figure
yeah.
out what to
I
do with
just
those people.
basically I penalized them.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I
and
did. I
it makes a lot of sense what you did. You know, I was thinking about doing the same thing, but I've just always all through all our lists, I've just kept off anybody that got caught. So I'm just going to stick to it. But I respect any version of it. You know what I mean? For real.
Yeah, and plus the numbers are so ridiculous that it's good to mention them regardless, just because it's so stupid.
No doubt, they're out of control. They're
Yeah,
absolutely out of control. They
one
look like old timey numbers,
yeah,
you
one
know?
38.7.
Yeah, yeah,
Or I mean that's the most we've had so far by a mile.
yeah, yeah. We haven't. It's the first person that crossed 100.
and he's got and it's not 101. It's 138.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no, that's I mean, he was a, if you just take out the controversy, there's no debate about, other than whether you put him at 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 or whatever. You know what I mean?
And 7 Cy Youngs.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
number. That's
actually,
the
oh, go ahead,
Go ahead,
Austin.
Jordan.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, yeah, that was actually the famous thing because I saw this, and brought it up. So, um, I just think it's funny. About this stat, but you mentioned the 7 Cy Youngs hasn't never thrown a no hitter. Nolan Ryan has 7 no hitters, never won a Cy Young.
Oh my God, that's a great stat.
What the? That's great symmetry right there.
That is.
Just think like that. That's actually pretty. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, I love it. Good one. That's awesome. I feel like we're all gonna just like disappear into a wormhole now that you read that stat.
Yeah. Uh,
Love it.
That's awesome. All right. What's next?
um.
Or were we done with Clemens? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rush at it. Just felt like the
Yep.
right pause.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Cool, cool.
Wait. Craig, what was that one? That was your
That was number 14.
Al. Your 14 was taken.
14, I believe, was Bob Feller. Yes.
Okay, so whoever has a 13, my 13 was Perry.
Craig, do you have one? I do. If you don't, but if you're first, if you have one.
See, where the hell? Oh, I do have one.
Okay,
Hey, nice.
Nice. Okay, my number 13. I'm very curious to see where he lands for you guys. His also a over 100 WAR or 100.1, and that is Warren Spahn.
Oh, nice. He's my number 12.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yep, 363 wins.
Yeah, dude. And plus, I've already mentioned him twice during this podcast because of
Yeah.
that Juan Marichal game, man.
actually, now that you mentioned it, because I was gonna bring him up, the most wins by a lefty.
Of all time, you are correct. Good stat. Yes, great
Yep.
stat.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. I mean, 363 is no joke.
No,
Yeah, that's no joke, man. He just didn't hang around to get his 300th, you know?
wow, that's insane. He
No.
had over 300 wins and still lost 3 years.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I
Right?
just
How about that? How about that? He enlisted in the service right after he debuted in Major League Baseball at 21 years old,
yeah.
and
Holy
didn't get to play again until he was 25. He missed 4 full seasons, or actually played 4 games and missed the rest of 4 seasons. He had some of the hardest duty of any MLB player during service because he was treated like a serviceman, not a star baseball player, because he wasn't a star yet. And there are the Ted Williams and the Bob Fellers that did real service too, but there were some that were getting the country club treatment, and he was not one of them. He was in active hard duty for that whole time, and another neat thing about Spot, this is one of my favorite guys of all time, by the way. This is one of the guys I treasured his baseball card. I stared at his nose, which is one of the most famous noses in the history of the game. Which, by the way, brings me to his nickname, which there was the one he liked was the Invincible one. Great nickname. But the ones that had to do with his nose, by the way, which was broken by getting hit with a baseball and then healed funny into a hook shape. So so
really?
it made his large nose extra funky. And one of his nickname, and it wasn't because of his curveball, was Hooks. And the other one that I like even better was the Great Profile.
That's pretty funny.
The Great
But look at
Profile.
that. He led the league and wins 8 times.
Yeah. Oh, the stats are insane.
They are
Insane.
two has what 4 seasons of at least 290 or better innings pitched. No, he has more. So I'm
Listen to
sorry.
the here, Jordan. Let me do this real quick for you. Check this out, because I wrote down everything he led the league in during the course of his career. He led the league in ERA 3 times, WAR 1 times, wins 11 times, games started 2 times, complete games 9 times, shutouts 4 times, innings pitched 4 times, Ks 4 times, WHIP 4 times.
Oh my! I just looked at his complete game. His complete games. That he has 665, and then what shutouts 63.
Nice, nice.
This guy's insane, man. These people are insane back in the day.
Yeah, man. No, he was something else. He was something
No,
else.
he was, yeah.
I had a whole thing. I had a thing for him. I had a thing for that old Braves team with Hank Aaron and him, and Eddie Matthews. That was one of my favorite old teams to read about. And Warren Spahn is one of my favorite old pitchers.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It is crazy the differences from now.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah, 100%.
It's really fascinating.
Well, I'm really glad I put him on the list.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. And
Yeah.
there's a thing I want to read that it'll take me a minute to find. I just found my note, but
Just
uh,
remind me, where did you guys have him?
I had him at 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Jordan, did you?
I didn't have him on my list.
All right.
I want to find this Warren Spahn thing real quick, but it's going to take me a second. So if anybody has anything to say, feel free.
He did. I don't know if you guys mentioned it. He did get one Cy Young, but it wasn't that. It was at the time when it was only for the best pitcher, I believe. It
You
wasn't
are
both
correct.
leagues. Yeah,
Yep.
You are correct.
Mm.
which is even more impressive.
That is. This dude's insane.
Yeah, his baseball reference page is
Yeah.
incredible.
Well, it's just like the other thing that I said. Like, it's uh, just another guy. You know the name, but you never know until you go on Baseball Reference and see his numbers.
The bold numbers.
Yeah, there's so many. That's
It's
insane.
it's wild, isn't it? It looks like somebody just dropped their inkwell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very very impressive. And to be honest, I kind of wish I had him a little higher. But there's some of these guys you just can't put them over, and you want to, but they're just as impressive.
Yeah, man.
We're
And
getting down
I'm
to it now. I mean, the top 10 is going to be ridiculous. The numbers.
Yeah.
absolutely when you're getting to this level of greatness, you're splitting hairs, and I guess for me it was just the ERA of 3.09, maybe. I don't know, but it just. By the way, Ks per nine 4.4. The further back you go, the lower that number gets in general.
Yep, absolutely.
And I
Did
found
he
my
ever?
paragraph I want to read on Saber about his World War II experience, and tying it into. Oh, this is great. So the lefty had a far rougher World War II experience than most big leaguers who spent the conflict out of harm's way with gloves instead of guns. But before entering the fray, he got to play some ball, pitching in the summer of '44 for the Gruber Engineers with Ryman as his catcher. I don't know who that is. Spahn won his first 10 games, 7 on shutouts, and struck out 186 batters in 80 innings. The winning streak was snapped when he uncharacteristically committed 3 throwing errors in a 7-1 loss to the semi-pro Atlas Electrics of the Tulsa League.
Oh my God, the electric.
He may have had a lot on his mind because Spahn was shipped to Europe aboard the Queen Mary on November 9th, 1944, as staff sergeant of the 276th Engineer Combat Battalion. He arrived in France a few weeks later, survived for about 10 days on peanut butter sandwiches provided by friendly British soldiers, and then went back to fighting.
Jeez.
Like, these dudes were men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a man, Like, what is it to come back and pitch, like 30 complete games a year when you have to go over to France and eat peanut butter sandwiches while you're,
Right.
firing shells at the beach, you know?
Wow.
Uh, here, yeah, and here. Oh, here's the thing, Al. That you were mentioning when we're talking about Juan Marichal.
Hmm.
Yeah, him, and Juan Marichal both pitched 16 inning shutouts until Willie Mays hit a home run off him.
Isn't that incredible? Oh, I forgot it was Willie Mays that ended that game. Great, that's
Yeah,
great addition to that. That's freaking awesome.
it's like holy cow, man. This is it. Oh my god.
That
I
is
love doing these
awesome.
podcasts.
Great. That good stat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. All right. Well, good one, man. Yeah, I really wanted. I assumed Craig going in, he was going to be in my top 10 because I love him. I had a thing
Exactly.
for him when I was a
Same
kid, and
thing.
I know the
Same as
numbers can.
yeah. Same as
Yeah,
me. I thought for sure, and then
but
ah, making the list is just
just so
didn't
many
work
damn
out.
good pitchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so many damn good pitchers, man.
Yeah, now
I love it.
it's so
All right.
the differencing of opinions too, because you said for sure he would be in your top 10, and then Jordan wasn't able to even fit him in the top 20.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And it's you can make a legit case for all of that, which I love.
Yes,
You know,
yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, legit. Like I told you guys off air, I don't think I said the number on air. I have 31 honorable mentions, and we're not going to hit all of them. Certainly not in detail, but that's how I had to force myself to stop at that point. Oh yeah, yeah.
No.
So, where does that take us, Jordan?
Um. Well, that was Craig's 13, right?
Oh, so my
Yes.
13.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think this is my first relatively modern guy. Certainly the first guy on my list that I saw his entire career. Looking back at him, his peak was even longer than I thought. I thought he was almost in the Koufax category of short peak, but without retiring, going into a long, winding decline. But his peak was 8 out of 9 years that were as good as any 8 or 9 years almost anybody ever had, and that is Pedro Martinez.
I saw a
Okay.
list where Pedro was number one.
I saw lists with him regularly in the top 10 for sure. I don't think I saw that list, but it doesn't surprise me. So yeah, I mean I wouldn't put him there personally, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah.
I saw him all over the place and in a lot, almost every top 20 I saw.
Yeah, I mean his numbers are crazy. Three Cy Youngs, and by the way, he is my number 10.
Oh, nice. Jordan?
He is my number 7.
Love it. Okay, okay. I struggled with where to put Pedro, man. I struggled with a lot of these, but yeah, and eventually settled on 13. But again, I wouldn't argue any of that. Um, yeah, so here's the numbers on Pedro that I have. His career WAR 83.9. The number that knocks him down if he gets knocked down on these lists is the win total of 219. He didn't make it to 300 or even close, but his career was so good other than that we can forgive that. So, and by the way, incredible win percentage at 219 and 100. Um 293 ERA, which is very good. But here's the sparkling part about Pedro, and the part that guarantees he has to be on these lists for me, and that is his I'm sorry, his WHIP is 1.054, which is, and hear me now, fifth all time. And by the way, to put perspective, talking about crossing eras and things like that, it is even more impressive that he is fifth all time in WHIP when you factor in that the only other person that has played, there's only two other people on this list that have played, I think, even since like 1930, okay,
Yep.
that go in the top 10. And that is Clayton Kershaw and, damn it, I'm sorry, guys. Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer. Every other name, you're going to find that they threw 500 innings one year. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
Because they played in 1872 or something. So fascinating, just dominance in that regard.
To
I,
me, when I was watching him against the Yankees, especially, he
Hmm.
was the most dominant pitcher of his era for that 8 or 9 stretch, an 8 or 9 year stretch, whatever that was. Even if you want to get it down to the top 6 years or whatever,
Hmm.
I can't imagine. I can't remember a pitcher more dominant than him.
There's one other guy I would put in his category. I won't say it yet because he's going to be on our list. But yeah, I'm with you. That run was insane, and nobody. He was the best combination of having the juice. You know, he was throwing upper 90s in his prime, but also having the guile.
Yep.
He had no problem transitioning towards the end. I mean, he wasn't the same dominant pitcher towards the end, but he had no problem transitioning because he could throw the ball all over the place and break pitches, change speeds, and all that good stuff. So he was smart and had an arm from hell.
3,154 Ks in only 2,800 innings.
Yeah, 10.0 Ks per nine, by the way.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's the biggest number we've seen in difference. Is that the first number that where the strikeouts were more than the innings?
It was Sandy Koufax and Nolan Ryan.
Okay.
Remember, Koufax did it first in the 60s, and nobody did it till Nolan Ryan 25 years later, or whatever it was, and 30 years later. And then Pedro beat both of them.
Yep. That's crazy, though. That is totally
Yeah.
insane. And of course, like we said, the three Cy Youngs absolutely deserves to be on the list. I hated his guts, but I can't deny his greatness.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I have another level of respect for Pedro because I don't know if you guys remember this. He pitched for the Phillies in his last season.
Yeah, the Yankees
Yeah.
2009 World Series was against him. He lost the last
Oh
game.
God.
Oh, I forgot that's right. That's of course you guys remember that. Duh. So but
I
yeah,
don't.
he was at 37 years old, and I looked it up. They claim he was still pitching in the high 80s, but I don't remember him throwing a ball much faster than 84, 85 miles an hour that last season. And he had a 3.63 ERA, went 5-1, like
Yep.
Yeah.
for what he had left in his arm at that point, that was amazing.
We don't talk about that World Series. I don't like.
That's like
Just
that's awesome.
just
That's like
not
me with
because what happened.
93.
Not because what happened on that on the field. What happened to me personally in the
Oh.
'09 World Series.
Oh.
If you got so again, I was still a kid. That was and that was 15 years ago. I'm 27. Math's hard. I'm not gonna do it. Um, but
So you're 12.
yeah, okay, yeah. So I was 12, right? And me and my dad watched it because it's a father son moment. He was a Yankee fan, so was I, and I fell asleep. I forgot what inning it was, but it came down to the last inning. I watched all of the last inning, but I fell asleep on the couch. So when Mo came out, um, my dad didn't feel like waking up, so he grabbed the closest thing that was closest to him. It was nothing big. It was just like a small kid stool. Just whacked it and threw it at my body to wake me up. He's like, "Hey, the Yankees are gonna win. Let's go."
That's
So
awesome.
that's how I watched the Yankees get the final three
That's
outs.
awesome. Oh man, what a riot. Oh, that's great.
I can totally see your
Oh.
dad doing that.
Yeah, you know my dad very well.
I love that.
Uh,
Oh man. And hey, real quick before we get off Pedro too, I just want to mention his whip, his insane whip dominance even within his era. Um where he led the league in whip 6 times, I believe. Yeah. And the one year, which year is it? 2000, which is one of the best seasons anybody's had in the last 30, 40 years. He had an ERA of 1.74. He pitched 217 innings, 284 strikeouts, and had a whip of .737.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
that's
I mean,
insane.
that's one of the best seasons anybody will ever see again.
Yep.
Yep.
That's what I mean about that dominance. There was a time where he was the most feared, most dominant pitcher. I know who the other guy you're talking about. I would actually just for that time because I actually had the other guy ranked higher than Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
But for that time, that's like even if we gotta really microanalyze it and go down even to a smaller sample size of like 3 years, maybe the
Mm-hmm.
three most prime Pedro years, I would take over that other guy.
No, I'm with you there. I definitely. Yeah, because Pedro's three best years are you can hold them up to almost anybody.
Yeah, you really could. But anyway,
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. All right, so that was my 13. So Jordan 12, perhaps.
Yes. And
Do you
my
got it?
guy, it's uh the second guy from Greg, Tom Glavine. I'm gonna put John Smokes as my number 12.
and that's the guy I bumped out to put in Burt Blyleven.
All right.
Yep. He
Um.
another one of the guys that I wanted to get on and didn't make it.
Yep.
I love Smoltz though. Go to town on this guy.
Only player in history with at least 200 career wins and 150 saves.
Yeah.
Uh. In '96, right? I got that. Yeah, '96 won the Cy Young. Went 24-8. 14 consecutive wins that year. Um. Just 8-time All Star. I mentioned the saves, 154 saves, 213 career wins. Uh, yeah, Smokes was definitely one of the better guys on that rotation, and yeah, he didn't even a closer. He was still good at.
Yeah,
He was
he transitioned to closer as seamlessly as anybody's that I had ever seen because he was coming off, I believe it was Tommy John surgery. He missed the whole year, and
yep.
rather than it impacting his following year, he decided to come back and just be the closer for a couple years while he was recuperating from the Tommy John. And then he turned it, and then it went so well, he continued it for 2 more years after that.
Yeah, and he had 55, 45, and 44 saves.
55 saves.
He did a reverse Eckersley, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Incredible. And I want to throw this out there while we're talking Smoltz stats. This is the one thing the if there was a reason I was going to point to keep him out of the top 20, it would be the ERA of 3.33. um, which isn't stellar, but it's not. There's guys on this list that are right around there, so that's okay. I don't have a problem putting him in the list too. But here's where it was really hard for me to keep him off, because he ratcheted it up in the postseason. Man, he was awesome in the regular season, but in the postseason, his ERA went from 3.33 to 2.67. The WHIP was even a little better, but the WHIP was great anyway in regular season. But it was even a little better in the postseason, 1.144, and he was 15-4.
Yep, and he was 199 strikeouts in 200 innings.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
200 innings in the postseason.
That's wild. Yeah. Once we get into the wild card era, we start getting some big numbers.
Well, by the way, uh, I always tell the story. If we were doing a playoff ranking of pitchers,
Yeah.
he'd be on it. But the other guy that I'm going to mention right now would also be on it, and he's not going to be on this list, and that's Andy Pettit.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Andy Pettit's 1-0 victory over the Braves. I think it was a complete game, or maybe it was 8 innings in the '96 playoffs. Smoltz matched him inning for inning, and later went on to say that it was the best game he ever pitched in his life. And they lost 1-0
That's so awesome.
To
That
Andy
was an
Pettit.
incredible game. Incredible.
Yep. So yeah, just to mention that, again how great he was in the playoffs. But yeah, Andy Pettit, if we did a playoff one, he would be in there because I think he's got the most career postseason wins, and he was way better in the playoffs than he was in the regular season. Kind of weirdly, almost
Yeah, absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
significantly better.
Nah, he was something, man. He was he was he was good. He was very good in the regular season, but he was
Yeah, but he
great.
was like never Cy Young contention,
No, I mean, well, his career ERA is 3.85.
right? But then his career postseason ERA is probably around 3 or lower.
I
Although I don't
would
know if
I
he
would
got bombed at all later on in the year.
There might have been something that messed it up, but everybody knows his postseason reputation for sure. I mean, he was a beast, no doubt about it. Yeah, that's a great one, man. This is awesome. So where does that take us now?
whoever else has number 12.
I think I have a 12. Do I? Wait, let me see. Rustling pages, rustling pages. Oh no, I'm sorry. My 12 was Warren Spahn. I
Yep,
have an 11 yet, but no 12.
my 12 was Sandy Koufax.
Okay, so my 11.
You're 11.
Yes.
All right. So here's gonna be an interesting one. I'm interested to see if he made your guys' list. But I'm gonna go with a guy who has, I'm gonna say, the 300 club has the highest winning percentage. and I'm going with Lefty Grove.
Ah, nice. Nice.
He is
Um,
my number 6.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
let me find him because I know he made mine too.
That winning percentage is ridiculous.
Lefty Grove is my number 5.
Yeah, he had 300 wins and only 141 losses.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
insane.
ridiculous.
It's insane. And that is in that era when everybody was pitching complete games
Yeah,
and
and he
were
won an MVP.
yeah. No, he was a beast, man. Absolute freaking beast.
Yep. Here's the other thing, which I didn't realize these were a thing until I looked up Lefty Grove. Uh, he has 9 ERA titles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Most by any pitcher. During a 6-game stretch from 28 to 33, he went 152 and 41. And back to back, I kid you not, I thought this was insane. From 1930, 1931, he won back to back triple crowns.
Wow. Wow.
So clearly the best pitcher in baseball.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean the black on Pro Baseball Reference is insane. Did I don't think we mentioned his WAR yet. By the way, we talked about crossing over 100. This is the guy closest to that Clemens number you mentioned, 113.2.
Yep. And but if you go to the top, it's 106.8.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry. I was looking at because they subtracted his batting. That's right. My bad. My bad.
Yep.
Exactly what I was talking about earlier, and I forgot.
That's okay.
Yeah, Lefty Grove, man. By the way, and I also want to mention this: in that era, the whips were much higher. So like his whip of 1.278, while would not be sparkling today, was absolutely fine in that era. In
Yep.
fact, he led the league in whip 5 times.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Lefty, that's awesome, man. Yeah, the Wayback Machine is prominent on my list for sure. And Lefty was
298 complete games.
298. Oh wow. Oh, what's the shutouts?
35.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. All right.
But he also had 54 saves.
And he led the league once with
Yeah.
9.
Yeah.
Oh man, he led the league in strikeouts his first is that 7 seasons? Yeah, first 7 seasons in the league he led the league in strikeouts.
He led the league in ERA 9 times.
Yeah, that's bonkers. He is a modern stat nerd's darling. Look at the column of black in the numbers we don't understand. ERA plus, FIP,
Yeah.
whatever that is, he's awesome at it.
Strikeout to walk ratio, too. He's very good.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yep. And won an MVP going 31-4.
Wow, wow, man, wow. Yeah, some of those records, just like a 5 year span: 24-8, 20-6, 28-5, 31-4. Then he just went 25-10 the next year, and then bounced back to 24-8.
Just insane.
Oh, amazing. I mean, you just marvel at these old numbers, man. Yeah. People talk about their time machine. They're like, would you go talk to Jesus or go kill Hitler or whatever, that kind of thing? Man, I want to go see some baseball.
Yeah.
I want to go see Lefty Grove versus, Christy Mathewson or Warren Satchel Paige versus Bob Feller in the Dominican in 1952 or whatever.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah. It very very great player. It I couldn't keep him off this list.
Oh, no. There's no way. I'm glad we all had him on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And by the way, before we move on from him, speaking of guys' postseason efforts, guys that are greater in their in the under pressure. Another case of this: his postseason ERA, and this is in 51.1 innings, which is a lot of damn innings when you're only playing World Series. Um, 1.75 ERA, 1.013 WHIP, and 4-2. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that's way better than his career numbers again. You know,
Yep,
it's awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, Craig, are we moving on from lefty? Does Craig have an 11?
I do. I have an 11. Interested to see where you guys have him. I assume you have him on this list somewhere. He is the greatest player in his franchise's history,
Ooh.
and that is Tom Seaver.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Where did I put Tom? Tom Seaver is my number 7.
Yep, 3 Cy Youngs,
3 Cy Youngs. He
300
is
wins.
he is still very prominent on the strikeout all time list. Where is he exactly?
Yeah, 3,600 strikeouts.
Number 6, by the way. I didn't
Mhm.
mention, by the way, when we did Burt Blyleven that he's number 5. Tom
That's
Seaver's right
awesome.
behind him at number 6.
A 286 career ERA, under 3 for his career.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive. 1.12 whip and over 100 war. Another one, 106 is what I have.
Yeah, I don't know. What do I have for old Tom? I think I had the same thing. Where's my Tom notes? Oh no, I didn't do my Tom notes yet, but I do have his war written down. Yeah, no, Tom is one of
Oh,
the
no,
I mean,
well, 106 is for the pitching, but overall, with the hitting, he must have been a good hitter because with the hitting, he's 109.
yeah, it's interesting because a lot of pitchers get subtracted of every now and then one or two of them gets a bump, you know?
Yeah, he did 3 war points for with his hitting.
Nice, very nice.
Another guy though with a well, not a ton of black, but a lot, a decent amount. Um, Another guy, 231 complete games and 61 shutouts.
Oh wow, that's might be the biggest. Is that the biggest number we had today? That's a big
Yeah, I
damn
think
number.
the biggest was 60.
Yeah, because we hadn't crossed 60. That's right. Wow. Man, that's impressive, dude. To on the pitchers we're going through, and he has the most shutouts of all of them. That's amazing.
Yep,
Um,
6.8 strikeouts per nine. Yeah, absolutely deserves to be on those. You said you had him where?
I had him at number, was it 6 or 7? Let me double check that real quick. It was either 6 or 7. 7.
Awesome, Jordan. Did you have Tom Seaver?
Um, yeah, he's my number 10.
Right on. Okay.
Nice.
It's,
Yeah, we're all in a nice little cluster with him. We're all within 4 of each other. Yeah, and when you said best player in the history of his franchise, I had to think for a second, but once you said him, I was like, oh yeah, duh.
I guess there's some
Perfect.
debate to that, but I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't debate you on it. Not me. The strikeout numbers by this guy, I mean, just huge. And what was his Ks per nine? See, isn't that 6.8?
Yep.
I love it that like Pedro was the first guy um, of the era. There was Koufax and then there was Nolan Ryan, but they were anomalies. Pedro was in the era where some of the best pitchers were striking out more than 9 per 9. There's going to be a few other guys that on that list that either we're not going to talk about or might come up later that have numbers in that realm. And moving forward from their era, it's more commonplace. But
Yep.
yeah, he was a strikeout king before being a strikeout king meant more than 1 per 9 or 9 per 9.
Yep. Yeah, he had 289 in 1971
Yeah, man.
in 286 innings.
Yeah, and his whip was. I mean, he had the was it. Oh, I forgot the triple crown to me should be ERA, strikeouts, and whip. I
Right.
know that they make it wins, but that would have given him a triple crown that year.
Yep.
yeah.
He had a year where he went 25-7
Yes,
with a 221 ERA.
yes, man.
He didn't get to 300 innings, but he got to like 280, 270 a lot.
Yeah, man. No, he was hovering in that high twos for a massive portion of his career,
Yeah,
and that was that
250,
that.
Yep. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Craig. I was just going to say that 25-7 year you were just talking about was that Miracle Mets team,
Yep. Yeah, 69.
one of the most fun teams ever.
18 complete games in 73. Led the league.
21 in 71 didn't lead the league with it.
with a 1.76 ERA.
Woo! I mean, come on. That's like, I mean, his whip was 0.946, struck out
That's
289, like you
an
said.
incredible year.
I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. And other than that Miracle Mets year, the Mets stunk.
Yeah,
So he was doing that just like Carlton was doing it for a crappy Phillies team. And Robin Roberts was doing it for a crappy Phillies team. Notice the theme in Philly.
yeah,
Um, Seaver was doing it with the Mets. And it
yeah.
wasn't much better when he got traded to the Reds. The big red machine was over by the time he got there.
What is that true? I don't know if this is true. It might be true,
What's
but
that?
he has 16 opening day starts, which is an MLB record.
Holy crap. Wow. I didn't catch that. That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I always think of the famous rant with what's his face, Don LaGreca with Michael Kay. That is the greatest Mets rant of all time. He talks about Tom Seaver, how they traded him away right before he was going to win 300 games,
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, I forgot. Oh,
and he won 300 games as a White Sox.
can you still find that, Craig?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
I'll
I'm
forward it
listening
to
to
you.
that today. That's awesome.
I'll forward you. You want to laugh your ass off? It is the funniest thing I've ever seen in terms of sports talk radio, because it's not meant to be funny, obviously, most of the time, but that is the greatest rant ever. He talks
Well,
about the fact that the Mets don't have any forever players. They either get them from somebody else, or that at some point they go to somebody else. Nobody stays on the Mets the whole time, and it's
Oh, I'm
true.
I'm so in. That's awesome. I remember this vaguely, but I got to hear the whole thing again. It's been a long
wait,
time. That's awesome.
what
Ed
was that? I'm sorry.
Kranepool. Ed Kranepool.
Ed
He's
Cranepool.
like,
Oh
Ed
my goodness.
Kranepool's our forever player. He's the guy who never left. He's like, when David Wright came up and was breaking all the records, he was breaking all of Ed Kranepool's records.
That's awesome.
He's like, not Babe Ruth, not Mickey Mantle, Ed Kranepool.
Ed Cranepool. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so awesome. I love it. Woo.
Uh,
All right.
anyway,
Well, where are we?
Do you
well,
have 11 now?
that was my 11. So I'm done.
Okay, so I do have an 11,
Cool.
and I'm guessing he's in both of your top tens, but we'll see. Um, a guy who, right there with Koufax and a few others, has a case to be made for the greatest pitcher in the history of the postseason. Maybe the most intimidating guy to ever stand on a pitcher's mound.
Oh yeah, that's the guy.
Bob Hoot Gibson.
Oh, that's not my guy. Yes, Bob Gibson for me is number 7.
Oh,
Nice.
he is. Please hold. Paper ready.
Efforting.
Bob Gibson is my number 5.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, Gibson's awesome, and I wouldn't argue anywhere you want to put Bob Gibson. It's just his regular season numbers don't hold up to, like, his accumulated stats don't hold up to some of the guys I put higher than him. But that's the only reason I knocked him down a little bit, because you can make just any case you want for Bob Gibson, and I'll
I
start with his postseason numbers. Go ahead. You want to say something before
I
we
was
get
just
into
really
numbers?
quick gonna say that I just love the fact that he was so intimidating in basically, if you hit a home run against him, you knew either the next guy or the next time you came up, you were getting one right in the ribs.
Yeah, somebody was going to pay for your
Yeah,
success.
you hit a home run, someone's getting hit. Either you the next time or the next batter is getting beamed,
Abso freaking lootly.
and everybody
Without
knew it.
fail.
Everybody knew it.
Yep. Without fail. And his whip would probably be a decimal point lower at least if he didn't do that.
I don't think it happened that often because he was so good.
No, yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. So I'm going to start right with the numbers that blow my mind, and that's his postseason numbers. We'll give you a little frame of reference so they mean even more. Regular season, 251 wins, 174 losses, 2.91 ERA, 1.188 whip, 7.2 Ks per nine, which was great for his era. Absolutely great for his era. Only like a Koufax and maybe a few other people were any higher than that. Now, that's awesome. Postseason, even better. 81 innings, 7-2, 1.89 ERA, 0.889 whip, 10.2 strikeouts per nine.
Won the
Wow.
World Series MVP twice.
Yes, one of them
But
was in 67 when he was 3 and 0. He gave up 3 earned runs in 27 innings. Now think about that. He pitched 3 games, he pitched 27 innings. That's 3 complete games. He gave up 3 runs in 3 complete games in the 67 World Series.
Yep, his ERA was a complete just one.
He pitched 3 in 3 World Series. He pitched 3 complete games in every one of them. 9 World Series starts, 9 complete games, 7 and 2.
Jeez.
That's preposterous.
That's awesome.
I had to dig deep into my thesaurus for that one. MVP in 68, Cy Young in 68 and 70, 9-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, 9-time Gold Glover. Arguably, and there's another guy that we'll get to on our list eventually, probably, that is the other guy in the discussion for this, but arguably the greatest fielding pitcher of all time. This look at, and if you guys are on his Pro Baseball Reference, let's just marvel. Now, it's 1968 to baseball historians. I don't have a bitch with this phone. Sorry, guys. Is, is known as the year of the pitcher. All right. And very few people, even in the year of the pitcher, had the year Bob Gibson did. 11.2 WAR, 1.12 ERA, 22 and 9, 28 complete games, 13 shutouts, 304.2 innings, 268 strikeouts, 0.0853 whip. It's one of the greatest seasons any pitcher has ever had in the history of baseball.
wow,
Yep, one of the best pitchers ever.
Yep. Absolutely, man.
I so I don't know because I don't. You guys probably seen the. I remember I used to watch this game every time MLB Network. I think I watched it at least 5 times from start to finish. But you mentioned his postseason. Uh, his game one of the '68 World Series,
Mm-hmm.
where he struck out in one game 17 batters. That's still the most in one World Series game.
Let's go. Come on. That's nuts. And that was in what was that? Which one was that? 67?
68 against the Tigers.
68. So yeah, that's a record that stood since 1968. That's wild.
It's in still stands to this day.
Incredible, man. Incredible. Yeah. Gibson. And by the way, I don't know. I didn't know that his nickname was Hoot. Did anybody ever hear that other than did you guys ever hear that his nickname is Hoot? Hoot?
I did not know that.
No,
Yeah, apparently it was pretty. Sometimes you find these nicknames on the internet. It really wasn't something that was used commonly, but apparently this one was, and it came from a silent movie star named Hoot Gibson. So it was a white dude who was a silent movie star, but because his last name was Gibson, they applied it to Bob and called him Hoot.
Awesome. I just sent you guys the Don LaGreca rant.
Oh, you rock! Thank you. I'll be checking that out for sure. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
listeners, if you have not heard that, if and you just want to laugh,
Hmm?
Don LaGreca Mets rant. It's the first one that will come up.
I'm in. Thank you. That's awesome. I love a good rant.
I don't know. My I know we're getting off topic. My favorite is Mad Dog. When the Giants haven't won.
Well,
Oh,
You guys
well, listen to the Don LaGreca one and tell me if which one you like better. That
I
okay?
love it.
I've
Well,
heard them both. I
I'm going
think
to try and send you guys something later, which is one of my favorite Phillies things of all time. Have you ever heard when the Phillies won the World Series in 1980? Have you ever heard how Harry Callis sing "High Hopes" drunk?
no.
Oh God!
I'll see if I can find that and send it to you guys when I get a chance.
Awesome.
That's
Well, that was
awesome.
awesome, guys. We did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No one has a number 11 right left.
No.
That was my number 11. I think that was it, right?
That's it. Just in time.
Just under the gun. I love it. Perfect. And then next week we'll have we'll do our top 10 and we'll also do our honorable mentions, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
because
that's
the 10
that is
won't be as much because we already got into a few of them already.
Yeah, we have a lot of duplicates, but we'll have some little nuggets that didn't come up from the duplicate people, and a lot of new stuff to talk about too. That'll be really fun, man. This is awesome. Thank you, Duke, for putting it together as always, Jordan.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, it's like I said, it's fun. But I love to talk baseball, and any chance I get to do it, I'm going to.
Yes, sir. I
Right
love
there
that.
with
I
you.
love it.
Right
Uh,
there with you.
all right. Well, yeah. Thank you guys again. Very fun. Like I said, I love doing this. These are fantastic. You guys want to add anything else before we sign off?
I
No,
think
just
I'm good, Jordan.
make
Thank you
sure
for
we're
having me
good.
as always.
Yeah, make sure we're good next week, same time.
Uh,
Yeah, that works for me. If it works for you guys.
that works for me.
Shouldn't be a problem. Okay.
All right. So we'll do our 10 through 1, which I think that should be a lot of fun. A lot of big names are going to be on that list. So join us for that for part 2. And yeah, of that, I'm going to sign off, and I will see you all in the next one.